Chapter 3404. All right. Don't worry, I'll help you deal with Jinghai's threat. After sending the Dragon of Virtue into the Eternal Divine Tower, Knight Sorrow wielded the Golden Heavenly Halberd and the Desolate War Halberd. He used the Fiery Demon Subduing Spear on Jinghai. This spear was mainly used to affect Jinghai's mind. After using it, Jinghai, who had been concentrating on controlling the Soul Slayer dagger, was greatly affected. Knight Sorrow laughed. You dare to control the Soul Slayer dagger in front of my attack. Damn it, I should have killed you with the others. If I had attacked with all my strength from the start, you would have died. Facing Knight Sorrow, Jinghai slowly opened his eyes. He summoned the 2 war generals from the space. These 2 were the 6th and 7th war generals, and their cultivations were at the 2nd stage of the half-step supreme realm. After summoning them, Jinghai ordered coldly, even if you have to pay with your lives, the 2 of you must help me block the Night Demon. Yes, sir. The 6th and 7th war generals answered and immediately stood in front of Knight Sorrow. They were ready to fight. At this moment, Barbarian King, who was in Knight Sorrow's space grotto heaven, transmitted his voice. Sir Night Demon, Barbarian King requests to fight. After the battle began, Barbarian King had been waiting for an opportunity. Now that he had found a suitable opportunity, he immediately requested to fight. All right, come out and fight with me. Let's quickly kill the 2 in front of us, and then destroy Jinghai. When Knight Sorrow heard Barbarian King's voice transmission, he immediately summoned him and asked him to fight side by side with him. He was ready to quickly kill the 2 war generals in front of him. At this moment, when he saw Knight Sorrow summon another Barbarian King at the 3rd grade of the half-step supreme realm, he immediately transmitted his voice to the 6th and 7th generals. Both of you, find an opportunity to use self-detonation to heavily injure Night Demon. Yes, sir. The 6th and 7th war generals replied in unison and attacked Knight Sorrow. Because of some kind of contract, they were absolutely loyal to Jinghai. Not good. They want to self-destruct. When the 6th and 7th war generals attacked, Knight Sorrow's heart suddenly throbbed. Figure out what they wanted to do. However, it was already too late for him and the Barbarian King to dodge. After all, they did not expect the 6th and 7th battle generals to self-destruct right from the start. At this time, the Barbarian King rolled his eyes and said, "Didn't they want to blow themselves up? Let's just blow them up." At the crucial moment, he was very determined. He had no intention of running away at all. He immediately used his strongest technique towards the 6th and 7th war generals. Your reaction really makes me look at you in a new light. As Knight Sorrow responded, he cast the Divine Essence Trapping Array and the Merit Trapping Array at the 6th and 7th war generals respectively. Then he used Icebound World to freeze them in place. In the end, he used the Soul-Devouring Dragon Roar to shatter the 2 people who were sealed in ice and were preparing to explode. Boom, boom. At the same time that the 6th and 7th generals self-destructed, they were completely shattered by Knight Sorrow's roar. At this time, the Barbarian King was kept in the Eternal Divine Tower after his attack. Knight Sorrow, on the other hand, didn't enter the Eternal Divine Tower to help it withstand all the attacks. It was to relieve the pressure on them. When the huge impact ended, Jinghai had already given up on controlling the Soul Slayer dagger. He turned to attack Knight Sorrow. I've been waiting for you. Seeing Jinghai's attack coming towards him, Knight Sorrow immediately used the Star Ruin's power in his body. He suddenly used the Star Ruin's Broken Palm on Jinghai. He had researched this move based on the Broken Palm of the Void and the Star Ruin's power. When he used it, Jinghai, who had launched a sneak attack, was sent flying. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Jinghai, who had been preparing for a long time, was sent flying by Knight Sorrow when he launched a sneak attack. His face was filled with disbelief. He originally thought that he would not be able to put up a strong resistance after being severely injured by the self-destruction. Now that he was sent flying by a palm, he immediately felt that he had suffered a huge blow. At the same time, he understood that he had completely lost today. Everyone is like you. After losing a battle, they say that it's impossible. In this world, nothing is impossible. Are you ready? Die. Pay with your life for those who died. Night Sorrow looked coldly at the Purge army and suddenly used the broken palm of the void. He was ready to end his life with one palm. Because of the Purge army's attack, many people had died in the Night Demon territory, which made him very angry. You can't kill him. At this moment, a voice suddenly came from the void. Then, Nan Gongha's figure appeared in the void. As she shouted, she struck out with another palm, directly shattering Night Sorrow's broken palm of the void. Vice President Nan Gongha, our battle has nothing to do with you, right? Why are you meddling in other people's business? Night Sorrow asked in displeasure when Nan Gongha broke the broken palm of the void. If not for the fact that he was weaker than her, he would have attacked her immediately. Night Demon, give me face and let Jinghai go. I'll remember this favor. After saving Jinghai from Night Sorrow's hands, Nan Gongha stood in front of him and looked coldly at Night Sorrow. Hearing this, Night Sorrow sneered and asked, "What if I say no?" At this moment, he was still very angry. He had used all his strength to defeat Jinghai and his many subordinates. Now this woman had appeared and saved Jinghai. This made him very unhappy. If you say no, I'll break some rules and let you die in front of Jinghai. Nan Gongha looked fiercely at Night Sorrow as she said this. Then she helped Jinghai up and prepared to leave with him. His tone was full of disdain and contempt. At this moment, Night Sorrow looked at Nan Gongha's back and said, "I'll settle today's matter with you in the future." In his opinion, the people of the Night Demon territory could not die in vain. Now that Nan Gongha had taken Jinghai away, both of them would have to pay with their lives in the future. Settle? You won't live until then. Don't even think about it. When Nan Gongha heard Night Sorrow's words, she looked back and raised her hand to attack. When Nan Gongha attacked, Night Sorrow felt that he had been locked down and had nowhere to hide. He could only activate the Green Phoenix armor and the two trapping arrays to block it. Buzz! Even though Night Sorrow tried his best to block it, he was still sent flying by Nan Gongha's attack. After being hit by this attack, Night Sorrow's body started to burn with green flames. He looked very miserable. This is Nan Gongha's demonic flame death curse. If you can't break it, you'll be burned to death sooner or later. Jia Lin immediately said when she saw Night Sorrow's body burning with flames. She had heard of Nan Gongha's curse when she was with Ji Xian. Chapter 3405. How can this demonic flame death curse be broken? After Jia Lin finished speaking, Xiao Tianxian asked anxiously. The myriad sword sect cursed. This damned old woman, one day, we will make her die without a burial ground. Yes. In the future, we must kill her, regardless of whether she is the vice principal or not. Green Leopard agreed. They were all very unhappy with Nan Gongha's behavior of bullying the weak. Jia Lin was silent for a moment before saying, "I don't know how to break it. But I vaguely remember that Teacher Jason said that if we want to break it, we need a lot of luck." A lot of luck? It seems that this demonic flame death curse should be very difficult to break. Hearing Jia Lin's words, Su Lei said worriedly, "To these people, Yi Shan was their absolute backbone. They couldn't afford to lose him in the slightest. Otherwise, they would become a force that could be bullied by others. In a while, I will go and ask Teacher Jason about the demonic flame death curse." After Yi Shang said that, he didn't linger on the topic anymore. Then he asked, "Wasn't Senior Longevity fighting with the Sea King? Where did the two of them go? Why did they disappear?" He had been focusing his attention on Nangong. He did not pay attention to Supreme Longevity and the Sea King. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared without a trace. This was obviously a little strange. "Oh, that's right. Where are they? Could they have been taken away by Nangonghe?" Xiao Tianxian said with a frown. "It shouldn't be. At that time, I had been locking onto Nangonghe. She had no chance to make a move on Senior Longevity." Night Sorrow recalled for a moment and said with certainty. He knew that Nangonghe's disappearance should have nothing to do with her. But it didn't mean that it had nothing to do with her. Then he said, "In my opinion, the possibility of Andrew is not small. If he was hiding in the dark, he might have captured Senior Longevity and the Sea King in an instant. Of course, this is just my guess. I can't be completely sure. This matter is indeed very strange. But I think that we should clean up the mess first and study your curse. After all, Senior Longevity's soul is not destroyed, and his body is not destroyed. There shouldn't be much of a problem in terms of safety. Su Lei thought for a moment and said, yes. This time, although we defeated Jinghai's army, we also suffered heavy losses. Everyone had a lot of resources on hand. After cleaning up the mess, it was better to increase their strength as soon as possible. As for the battle, I think that after our defeat at the Clear Sea, no one will dare to provoke us for the time being. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Good. Leave this mess to us. You should quickly go and see Teacher Ji Xian. He wanted to ask about the Devil Flame Death Curse. This matter will affect whether or not you can advance to the Limiter realm. You must not be careless. Jielin said after Night Sorrow summoned everyone. After fighting for so long, she had completely integrated into the group. Not only had she gained everyone's recognition, but she had also treated everyone as her comrades. Good. Jielin, your strength and foresight are superior to everyone else. When I'm not around, I hope you can step up and take charge of some things. Yi Shang glanced at the crowd. Although Yan Hongmei and Qingbao's strength was not bad, they were still subdued by Night Sorrow. It was not right for her to step up and take charge of the situation. Hearing this, Jielin immediately understood that Night Sorrow wanted her to manage the Night Devil territory. She immediately declined. I'm good at fighting, but I'm not good at managing things. It's better for someone else to manage the territory. Jielin, there's no problem with you taking charge of the situation. Su Lei, Tianxian and I will all support you. Seeing Jielin decline, Yunyi immediately stood up and said. He had the ability to manage the territory, but he did not have absolute strength. It would be very awkward if he could not step up when something happened, so he supported Night Sorrow's decision. After that, Su Lei and Xiao Tianxian also spoke up and expressed their willingness to support Jielin. Under their persuasion, Jielin finally agreed to manage the Night Devil territory. Seeing Jielin agree, Night Sorrow smiled and said, then I'll leave the Night Devil territory to you for now. I'll go find Teacher Ji Xian and ask about the Devil Flame Death Curse. Alright. Leave the matters here to me. Hurry up and remove the Devil Flame Death Curse. Jielin looked at Night Sorrow and said. When Night Sorrow left the territory, he left the Barbarian King, Yan Hongmei and Qingbao behind. After using the teleportation formation to leave the territory, Night Sorrow asked Little Fool, how's the soul-slaying dagger? Did you cut off its connection with the Clear Sea? It hasn't been completely cut off. The Clear Sea should still be able to sense its existence. However, it's impossible to take it away. At the same time, Little Fool asked, how is the curse on your body? Although it doesn't affect my divine origin force and soul, this Devil Flame Death Curse seems to be able to consume my energy. It makes it difficult for me to concentrate. I have to ask Teacher Ji Xian. Yi Shang sensed it and felt uncomfortable all over. Alright. Actually, if you can find the first and third levels, the Eternal Divine Tower can help you remove the Devil Flame Death Curse. Little Fool saw that Night Sorrow was uncomfortable all over, and immediately transmitted his voice. Oh, the Eternal Divine Tower has such an ability? Hearing this, Night Sorrow was immediately energized. As long as the Devil Flame Death Curse was not unsolvable, there was a possibility of completely removing it. Of course. When we combine, we will become an ultimate divine weapon with a very powerful purification ability. We have absolute confidence in removing this Devil Flame Death Curse. Little Fool said confidently. At this moment, Night Sorrow suddenly thought of Yan Hengshi. I wonder if Senior Yan Hengshi can help me remove this Devil Flame Death Curse. At the same time, he kept flying towards Lu Tian Academy. After arriving at the academy, Night Sorrow immediately found Ji Xian and said, Teacher Ji Xian, I've been hit by Nangongha's Devil Flame Death Curse. Can you tell me more about this curse? Bastard! This Nangongha is really shameless. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Ji Xian was instantly enraged. Although he had nurtured Night Sorrow to obtain the 3 Supreme's reward, he had forbidden him. However, it was true that he had banned her. Now that Nangonghe had cursed him, he was naturally extremely displeased. After thinking for a moment, he said, this curse was obtained by Nangongha from a mystic realm. It can only be used once. I didn't expect to use it on you. Oh. Which mystic realm did she obtain it from? Is there a way to remove it there? After Ji Xian finished speaking, Night Sorrow immediately asked with a frown. He could see that Ji Xian's expression was not too good, and knew that the matter was definitely not simple. That mystic realm is called the Sea of Sunday. In fact, it's a huge star field, and there are many suns in the star field. Therefore, the temperature is very shocking. At the same time, it contains countless dangers. Ji Xian thought for a moment and said, www. Chapter 3406. Sun Sea? Teacher, how do I enter this mystic realm? After Ji Xian finished speaking, Night Sorrow asked. Although the other party didn't say exactly how to break the demonic flame death curse, it was also very important to say where he found it. He thought for a moment and felt that he should still go to Hengshi. If he couldn't cure it there, he would go to the Sun Sea to find a solution. The entrance to this mystic realm is not in the academy. It is on a star in the void. The coordinates are on this map. If you want to go, you must pay attention to your safety. There are many powerful creatures in the starry sky above the foggy area. You can't be careless. Top-grade servant manga. Do you understand? Ji Xian took out a map and handed it to Night Sorrow. At this moment he was very unhappy with Nancy, but the other party was on the same side as Andrew. He had no ability to resist at all. He could only swallow his anger and pray that Night Sorrow would use his own ability to remove the demonic flame death curse. He and the Shadow still had other seedlings to protect. They wouldn't leave the academy for Night Sorrow. Thank you for your reminder, teacher. Night Sorrow took the map and looked at it. He found that it was an all-encompassing star map. The coverage was obviously larger than the endless sea of stars. He asked curiously, how do I go to the void? Can I take the starship exchange from the Star Hall? Yes. However, you need to exchange for a starship above the 3rd grade. Therefore, the strength of the 3rd grade of the half-step supreme realm is the foundation to enter the void. Therefore, I haven't told you about this before. Ji Xian explained and continued. In fact, there are already a few powerful people who have the chance to advance to the supreme realm who have entered the void. You have to be careful when you encounter them. I understand, teacher. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. I'll go to the Star Hall to take a look at the starship. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he prepared to go to the endless sea of stars to take a look at the price of a starship. He wanted to exchange for a 3rd grade half-step Supreme Realm starship. At this time, Ji Xian took out a 3rd grade half-step Supreme Realm starship from his space and said, "This is teacher's starship. It's useless now. Take it. It will save you from spending too much time accumulating points." Night Sorrow, be careful. There are some positioning and surveillance arrays on his starship. You'd better not take them. As soon as Ji Xian took out his starship, the male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer reminded him. Neither Night Sorrow nor the Eternal Divine Tower could tell that there was something wrong with the starship. But the restriction-breaking hammer saw through it with a single glance. I got it. Thank you for your reminder. Night Sorrow, who originally had a good impression of Ji Xian, immediately became vigilant when he heard this. After thinking for a moment, he said, "Teacher, you should keep this starship. If I encounter any danger in the void, I can still ask you for help. As for a 3rd grade half-step Supreme Realm starship, I have a way to exchange for it." "Oh, how are you going to exchange for it?" Ji Xian asked with a smile. He had indeed tampered with the starship. If Night Sorrow accepted it, all of his daily activities would appear before his eyes. "Teacher, at that time, I won 2 celestial bodies in a gambling match with others. I'm going to use these 2 celestial bodies to exchange for points. Not only the starship, but also some useful resources." Night Sorrow said what he had thought out. Meng He and Zhu Qingshuan's celestial bodies now belonged to him, but he had never descended. These 2 celestial bodies could be exchanged for a large number of points. Hearing this, Ji Xian nodded and said, "I see. According to the rules of the academy, 2 celestial bodies can be exchanged for a large number of points. Then you go. Remember, you must not exchange your celestial bodies. Otherwise, you will lose the qualifications to enter the middle school. Okay. Teacher, I understand. If there's nothing else, this student will take his leave. Night Sorrow cupped his hands and said to Ji Xian. He was going to head to the Star Hall and exchange his points. Ji Xian seemed a little strange. He was not going to look for Yan Hengshi directly for fear of exposing him. Okay. Go ahead. I'll talk to the elders of the Star Hall so that they won't cheat you of your points. Ji Xian nodded and sent Night Sorrow away. After Night Shang left, Luo Yunyang said to the void, "This night demon seems to be wary of me. Has he discovered something?" Hee. It should be because there are too many formations on your starship that he discovered it. No cultivator likes to live under the surveillance of others. The shadow said with a fake smile. I didn't expect him to be able to see through these formations. Ji Xian said as he looked in the direction Night Sorrow left. People with aptitude for the Supreme Realm can only be guided and not controlled. You're still too impatient. The shadow continued. Hearing this, Ji Xian nodded and said, Yes. People like them don't accept restrictions. However, not accepting restrictions is equivalent to not accepting protection. With his cultivation of the first stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, it won't be easy for him to survive in the void. Although his cultivation is at the first stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, he defeated Su Zhitian, who is at the second stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, and Jing Hai, who is at the third stage. This proves that he is at least at the third stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. Such strength is enough to go to the void. There's nothing to worry about. The shadow said and smiled. Besides, people with aptitude for the Supreme Realm are all favored. They won't die so easily. The main thing is, he's one of our hopes. If he or a few others can advance to the Supreme Realm, that's equivalent to the two of us advancing to the Supreme Realm. In terms of aptitude, it's extremely difficult for us to advance. We must obtain the reward of the 3 Supreme Realm experts before we can successfully break through the shackles. Ji Xian, who originally had a cold expression, said with his eyes suddenly shining brightly, I think we only need to pay attention to Andrew and Nangong Lotus, as well as their helpers. As for the other matters, we still need to deal with them by ourselves. This is called true gold is not afraid of fire. If he doesn't have the luck of the Supreme Realm, no matter how much protection he has, he will still die. Let's just wait and see. The shadow said with certainty. Compared to Ji Xian, he was much calmer. While the two of them were talking, Night Sorrow had already arrived at the Endless Sea of Stars. After arriving at the Endless Sea of Stars, he drove the starship to Night Devil Planet to take a look. Then he went to Menghe and Qingxian to take a look and found that the 3 planets were in good condition. He immediately headed to the Star Hall. On the way to the Star Hall, Little Seven reminded him. That elder purple cloud is from the Star Hall. This means that the elders of the Star Hall have also begun to join various factions. Therefore, we must be careful not to be schemed against. Don't worry. If they want to scheme against me, they need strength. We can just exchange points with peace of mind. Night Sorrow replied to Little Seven, and flew into the Star Hall to look for a place to exchange points. Chapter 3407. At this time, the Star Hall was quite deserted because some elders had gone to the foggy area to fight for territory. To these elders, resources were also quite important. Moreover, this was tacitly permitted by the Academy. They were also happy to fight for good things. After searching for a while, Night Sorrow finally found an elder in charge of point exchange in a pavilion on the 7th floor. This was an old man with a white beard. His figure was extremely thin, and there was a hint of arrogance between his brows. When he saw Night Sorrow arrive, he who was playing chess with himself asked coldly, What's your name? At this time, you actually stayed in the academy. Not going to fight for territory? Night Demon. Night Sorrow did not waste his breath to explain. After reporting his name, he directly said, Elder, how should I address you? I'm here to exchange for points. This old man is Qing-bearded. What do you want to exchange for points? If the quality of the item is not good, I won't accept it on the 7th floor. Qing-bearded said his name, and asked with a hint of arrogance in his tone. I want to exchange for 2 stars. I wonder if Senior will take a fancy to them? Night Sorrow looked at the old man and said. He felt that the two students' stars should be very attractive. 2 stars. What stars? When Qing Bearded heard the word stars, he immediately asked. 2 stars, Menghe star and Qing Xian star. These 2 stars were won by me in a bet. They are useless, so I want to exchange them for points. Night Sorrow did not hide anything and told him about Menghe star and Qing Xian star. These 2 celestial bodies were the best chips in his hands. Menghe star and Qing Xian star? This is really good stuff. This old man is very interested. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Qing Bearded immediately became interested. His originally turbid eyes lit up, and he put down the chess piece in his hand. He said, "Can you bring this old man to check it out, and then this old man will give you a price? There is a difference in value between different astral bodies." Of course. Elder, please. Night Sorrow made an inviting gesture to Qing Bearded, and then led him to Menghe star and Qing Xian star. Sure. These 2 celestial bodies haven't been completely mined yet. Their value is quite high. After checking planet Meng Hexing and planet Qing Xian with Night Sorrow, Qing Bearded muttered in his heart. In fact, there were some extremely valuable items on the astral bodies that the Academy bestowed upon every academy. Some planets were filled with supreme-grade materials, while others were filled with supreme-grade elixirs. None of them were simple. In front of him, the core array formations of Menghe star and Qing Xian star had not been broken at all. Naturally, Greenbeard was very excited. He was looking forward to obtaining a large amount of good stuff after exchanging these items. Although he was excited, Greenbeard controlled his emotions very well and said, "The value of these 2 celestial bodies of yours is not bad, but they are not of the highest quality. How about this? I'll give you 1 million star coins." There was a hint of disdain in his calm tone. In fact, he wanted to make a deal with Night Sorrow himself, and take these 2 astral bodies for his own use. If he used the Star Hall's resources to exchange, the celestial bodies would belong to the Star Hall. He was naturally unwilling to do that. Elder Qing Bearded, isn't 1 million star coins a little too low? You and I both know that these 2 celestial bodies are very valuable. I think the price of a grade 3 starship ranges from 200,000 to 1 million. A celestial body can't be worth less than a starship, right? Night Sorrow looked at Qing Bearded and said. Although Qing Bearded concealed it well, he could see that there was something fishy about it. This was the eyesight that he gained from cultivating the power of merit. Hearing this, Qing Bearded stroked his white beard and said with a smile, "A grade 3 starship can leave the foggy area and enter the void to search for treasures. The materials are already infinitely close to the supreme grade. It's normal for the price to be higher." Elder Qing Bearded, don't try to change the topic. Just tell me how much you can offer. Night Sorrow looked at Qing Bearded and said. He knew that Qing Bearded had his eyes on these 2 celestial bodies. 2 celestial bodies, 1,200,000. This is the highest price I can offer. Qing Bearded looked at Night Sorrow and said. 2,400,000, 2 celestial bodies. If Elder wants it, then take it. If not, then forget it. Night Sorrow looked into Qing Bearded's eyes and said slowly. He felt that this price was not high at all. It could only satisfy his temporary needs, so it did not matter how much it was. 1,600,000. Now in the Star Hall, only I can exchange for points. Think about it carefully. Hearing this, Qing Bearded spoke again. The way he bargained looked like a peddler, no longer as arrogant as before. 2,400,000 is already my lowest price. In addition, Night Demon means what he says. It's impossible for him to change the price. Elder, think about it carefully. In terms of price, Night Sorrow did not budge at all. After that, Qing Bearded said it several times, but it did not change the price. After thinking for a while, he gritted his teeth and said unhappily, "Fine. 2,400,000 it is. We'll trade immediately." Good. This is the contract between the 2 celestial bodies. Elder Qing Bearded, give me the celestial coins. Night Sorrow handed over the celestial body contract and said, "Okay." Qing Bearded squeezed out a sentence from between his teeth. He felt that it was very painful to pay 2 for million points in one go. Then Qing Bearded handed the celestial coins to Night Sorrow and completed the trade. However, this time, he felt that he was at a disadvantage in the confrontation with Night Sorrow. While his heart ached, he felt rather unhappy. He wanted to anger Night Sorrow and make his heart ache. After obtaining the contract and changing his name, he looked at Night Sorrow, who was about to leave, and said, "Night Demon, don't be in a hurry to leave." "Oh, Elder Qing Bearded, is there anything else?" Night Sorrow asked curiously. "Hee. Don't be in a hurry to leave. I'll bring you to broaden your horizons," Qing Bearded said with a smile, and brought Night Sorrow to Menghe Star's core array. Using the contract in his hand, he began to crack the array. Not long after, Menghe Star's core array was cracked. From the location covered by the array, a tall altar rose up, and on the altar, there was a medicinal pill emitting dense smoke. Seeing this medicinal pill, Night Sorrow was a little surprised because he could see it with the sea serpent's eye. The aura emitted by this medicinal pill was clearly at the extreme state level. There was a huge difference from half-step extreme state. He immediately said in shock, "So there's such a secret existence under the celestial body? Ha! 2 million points in exchange for an extreme state medicinal pill. It's still worth it." Qing Bearded glanced at Night Sorrow smugly and said snappily. The current him more or less had the feeling of a villain intoxicated by success. At this time, Night Sorrow secretly thought, "After this Menghe Star cracked the core array, there will be good things left. Then my Night Devil Star should be the same, right?" www. Chapter 3408. Qing Bearded had originally wanted to make Night Sorrow depressed with his gains, because he had lost too many star coins. Night Sorrow, on the other hand, was excited when he thought of his own Night Demon planet that had not been developed yet. As for Meng Hexing and Qing Xian planet that he had obtained from the battle, they had already shown their worth to him, and he did not feel envious. Then Qing Bearded laughed and collected Meng Hexing's Supreme State Elixir. He swallowed it right in front of Night Sorrow. He was originally at the third stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, but in an instant, the energy in his body surged and he advanced to the fourth stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. Ha! Nice. 1,200,000 star coins allowed me to advance from third stage to fourth stage. Thank you so much for your Meng Hexing. After advancing to the fourth stage of the Supreme State, Qing Bearded, who was originally unhappy, immediately became happy. In his opinion, advancing to the fourth grade of the quasi-supreme stage was an impossible dream because the third grade was the limit of his natural endowment. However, the elixir produced from Meng Hexing had directly raised him to the fourth stage. How could he not go crazy over such a heaven-defying elixir? Elder Qing Bearded, you're welcome. You spent star coins and obtained an opportunity. This is a matter of course. Night Demon, farewell. Night Sorrow was envious that Qing Bearded had advanced from third stage to fourth stage in such a short time. However, since he had already exchanged the elixir, he felt that there was no need for him to stay here and be jealous. Hence, he prepared to rush to Night Demon Planet. He wanted to find the opportunity that belonged to him. At this moment, above the originally clear sky, countless tribulation clouds suddenly appeared. After these tribulation clouds gathered, they all attacked Qing Bearded. Before the tribulation lightning energy body formed, the thick tribulation lightning began to attack Qing Bearded first. What's going on? Why is the tribulation lightning so terrifying? Seeing the terrifying lightning tribulation coming towards him, Green Beard was instantly flabbergasted. Although he had successfully advanced to the fourth stage of the Supreme State, and his strength had increased by quite a bit, he still did not have much confidence in facing the tribulation lightning. For a moment he was stunned. At this moment, Night Sorrow reminded him, "This should be because you obtained power that you should not have obtained. Hence, you are being punished by the heavens. As long as you can pass the tribulation lightning, you will officially advance to the fourth stage of the Supreme State. Hua Qiangu manga. Otherwise, he would die in the lightning tribulation." The heavenly Tao took it back. "Yes. With my talent, advancing to the fourth grade of the half-step Supreme Realm is indeed heaven-defying." Little friend, thank you. Greenbeard thought about it for a moment and felt that Night Sorrow's words made sense. Immediately, he began fighting against the lightning tribulation. However, his strength was limited, and the level of the lightning tribulation was obviously too terrifying. Soon, he was unable to withstand it. At this moment, Night Sorrow transmitted to Little Fool. Little Fool, can you control the eternal divine tower and absorb some tribulation lightning? If he were to absorb some of this tribulation lightning, he would be able to use it in the void. Moreover, he could also share some of the burden with him. The way I see it, this Elder Qing bearded Z won't last much longer. Night Sorrow himself didn't have the ability to absorb the lightning tribulation of a half-step paramount stage 4th stage cultivator. He couldn't even strengthen his body in it. After all, this type of tribulation lightning was much stronger than the attack of an ordinary 4th grade half-step supreme stage martial artist. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Little Fool said, "We can try." Then he controlled the eternal divine tower and tried to absorb the lightning in front of him. However, after a few attempts, all of them ended in failure. At this moment, Greenbeard was about to die. At this moment, he was no longer as high-spirited as before. He transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow. "Quick! Help me inform Vice Dean Jixian, and ask him to come and save me. It'll be too late by the time he arrives." Night Sorrow glanced at Greenbeard and said. He then transmitted his voice to Little Fool. "I'll lend you the power of merit and the power of frost. Try fusing the power of merit, and see if you can absorb some lightning." "Alright. I'll try. However, if I use these two powers, the Eternal Divine Tower will definitely be attacked." Little Fool transmitted his voice to Night Sorrow as he absorbed the two powers. He knew that doing so would be a provocation to the Heavenly Tao, and would be met with revenge. According to my judgment, the Eternal Divine Tower should be able to withstand such an attack. "Give it a try." Night Sorrow observed Greenbeard, who was about to die, and said, under the circumstances where his strength allowed, he felt a little apologetic to watch a cultivator, who had just interacted with him, die. "Alright. Then let's absorb the lightning in front of us." After receiving an affirmative answer, Little Fool immediately injected the power of merit and the power of frost into the Eternal Divine Tower. Once again, he absorbed the lightning in the void. With the help of the two powers, he really succeeded in absorbing most of the lightning. "Night Demon, this divine weapon of yours is amazing. Thank you, thank you." After absorbing most of the lightning, Greenbeard, who was originally very tired, instantly felt much more relaxed. However, after a portion of the lightning in front of him was absorbed by the Eternal Divine Tower, it did not descend to attack Greenbeard and the Eternal Divine Tower like ordinary lightning tribulations. Therefore, after Greenbeard dealt with the lightning in front of him, he was pleasantly surprised to find that he had successfully passed the lightning tribulation. This made him feel like he was the destined person. "Elder, you're too kind. Congratulations on successfully advancing to the 4th stage of Half-Step Supreme Realm. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first." Seeing that Greenbeard had passed the lightning tribulation, Night Sorrow cupped his fists towards him and flew towards Night Demon Peak. He was prepared to take out the opportunity of Night Demon Peak. After that, Greenbeard caught up and said, "Little friend Night Demon, don't be in a hurry to leave. You helped me pass the lightning tribulation. How can I not express my gratitude?" As he spoke, Greenbeard took out a bronze mirror that emitted a halo and handed it to Night Sorrow. He said, "This is the Universe Bronze Mirror of Half-Step Supreme Realm 3rd Stage. Take it as a token of my gratitude." "Oh, this mirror is not bad." The moment Greenbeard handed the Universe Bronze Mirror over, Night Sorrow and Little Fool discovered the extraordinariness of the mirror. Night Sorrow immediately declined and said, "Elder Greenbeard, saving you just now was just a small effort. I can't take your reward so easily." "Huh. There's no need to stand on ceremony between us." A trace of a smile appeared on Greenbeard's face as he stuffed the Universe Bronze Mirror into Night Sorrow's hands. Then he looked at the Eternal Divine Tower and said, "But let me say this first. My Universe Bronze Mirror will be used to exchange for this Divine Pagoda." "What did you say?" Hearing this, Night Sorrow's nose almost became crooked from anger. He completely did not expect that Greenbeard would do this at this time. "I said quickly hand over this divine tower. I can spare your life." Otherwise, I, Greenbeard, will take both the human and the treasure. Greenbeard looked at Night Sorrow with a mocking expression. Clearly, he was prepared to repay kindness with ingratitude. www. Chapter 3409. Both humans and treasures? Without us, you can't even pass the lightning tribulation. Where did you get your confidence from? Night Sorrow looked at Greenbeard coldly. The story of Mr. Dongua and the wolf flashed across his mind. This Greenbeard in front of him was completely a wolf that turned hostile and refused to recognize humans. However, he still had some confidence in facing Greenbeard, who was a half-step to 4th stage Supreme Realm. After all, he did not activate the Star Ruins combat secret technique or the Destruction Divine ability when he saved Greenbeard. Ha! I passed the lightning tribulation and received the power of the heavenly Tao. Now, I'm a true 4th stage expert. You're just a 1st stage ant. You're not enough to make me feel pressured. As for your divine weapon, it's just a divine weapon after all. It's even less of a threat. Greenbeard looked at Night Sorrow in disdain. After saying that, he continued. However, if you know what's good for you, hand over all your divine weapons. I'll be merciful and take you in as a servant. I'll spare your life. Looks like the saying justice grinds slowly but surely is right. Someone like you who doesn't have enough talent to pass the lightning tribulation. You'll be courting death. You'll die here. This is fate. Night Sorrow activated the Green Phoenix armor and activated the Treastrimsa Star Ruins combat secret technique and the Destruction Divine ability. At this moment, after activating these statuses, his aura could almost reach 3rd stage half-step to the Supreme Realm. He was not far from 4th stage. Hehe. You're quite strong. 3rd stage half-step to the Supreme Realm. If it was me in the past, it would be a little difficult to deal with you and your divine weapons. But now you'd better die. The divine weapons are mine. Greenbeard saw that Night Sorrow had activated his statuses and raised his aura. He shouted angrily and took out 18 flying swords and controlled them to shoot at him. Heaven wants to make him crazy before it destroys him. Watch me use the lightning tribulation to kill him. Seeing that Greenbeard actually attacked Night Sorrow, Little Fool, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, immediately prepared to attack. At this moment, Night Sorrow immediately transmitted his voice. Don't use a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Greenbeard has just advanced to 4th stage half-step to the Supreme Realm. His true combat power is probably inferior to Jinghai. Using the tribulation lightning he had just collected was clearly a waste. Watch my battle with him. After the voice transmission, Night Sorrow released his protective divine domain. The 18 flying swords that were flying through the air unleashed their ultimate skill, ice sealing the world. In the blink of an eye, the flying swords in the air were reduced by 70%. After the flying sword's speed decreased, he controlled the golden heavenly halberd and the desolate war halberd to immediately break the sword formation. After breaking the sword formation in a few moves, Night Sorrow shot out the Icefire Motherchild spear at Greenbeard. At the same time that Greenbeard wanted to dodge, he cast the Divine Essence Trapping Array and Merit Trapping Array. Junior, you have some skills, but your strength is too low, and the grade of your attack is too low. Sealed by the double trap array, Greenbeard only needed to sense a little before raising his state to the peak. Then he took out a short sword and broke the 2 arrays. He used an ultimate skill to welcome the Icefire Motherchild spear. The technique that Qing Bearded Z executed was called the 7 Swords of Heavenly Scar. After it was executed, it immediately slashed out 7 rays of sword light. It looked more beautiful than the Icefire Motherchild spear. In addition, he had just advanced to half-step Supreme Realm, Stage 4, so the power was still very strong. After the collision, it immediately dissolved Night Sorrow's attack. And there was still a trace of power that continued to pierce towards Night Sorrow. Your strength has yet to reach the level of level 4. Facing Greenbeard's sword, Night Sorrow used the Sea Serpent's Eye to observe and said disdainfully. Then he sent out a palm to break the sword move directly. He did not even use an ultimate skill. Junior, with your experience, what can you see? While Greenbeard roared, he took out a dragon-shaped jade pendant and activated it. In the air, a giant dragon that was 100 feet long suddenly appeared and cooperated with him to attack Night Sorrow. After the giant dragon joined in, Night Sorrow's battle became much more strenuous. However, both of them had fought for more than 100 rounds and Qing Bearded Z still could not suppress Night Sorrow. At this moment, Little Fool said telepathically, "You're right. Qing Bearded Z's strength is not comparable to Jing Hai's. If you use the Calamity Thunder to attack, it's a waste of resources." "Yes, I haven't ignited my blood force yet, and I'm already locked in battle with him. Such an opponent can be used to feed my moves," Night Sorrow, who was in the middle of the battle, replied. Now that he had gotten used to the strength of Qing Bearded Z and the giant dragon, the battle was getting easier and easier. As for Qing Bearded Z, the more he fought, the more shocked he became. Before the battle, he had never expected that Night Sorrow, who was half-stepped to Supreme Realm, could unleash such powerful combat strength. If he had known, he would not have blindly started the battle. "If we continue to fight, I won't be able to gain any advantage. Why don't we escape?" After fighting for a while, Qing Bearded Z realized that Night Sorrow had started to use him to practice his moves. Immediately, he had the thought of escaping. "Trying to escape? If you attack me, you have to be prepared to die." During the battle, Night Sorrow could already feel Qing Bearded Z's desire to escape. He shouted disdainfully, and then launched an even more violent attack. He combined some of the magical powers that Yin Hengshi had taught him, and used them one after another. Under such circumstances, Qing Bearded Z became even more flustered. He had realized that Night Sorrow had not used his full strength. After fighting for more than 10 rounds, he said regretfully, "Night Demon, I was wrong in this matter. How about this? You let bygones be bygones and I'll return planet Qing Xian to you. I'll also give you some star coins." "It's too late to talk about this now. There's only one outcome for a heartless thing like you, and that is to be converted into energy." Night Sorrow did not leave any room for negotiation in the face of Qing Bearded Z's apology. At the same time, he ignited his blood force and prepared to launch the final attack. At this moment, Qing Bearded Z suddenly said, "Night Demon, if you don't kill me, I'll tell you a shocking secret." "Oh, what do you know? Tell me." Night Sorrow, who was about to end him with one blow, stopped and said, "I know a shocking secret. That is, after the 3 Supremes completely awaken, they will devour all the cultivators who have the potential to enter the Supremes. They want to cultivate the Supremes for the 3 Supremes to devour. The 3 Supremes can use the method of devouring the Supremes to increase their cultivation level. Otherwise, why would they be so kind as to hand over the foggy area to everyone?" Qing Bearded Z did not hesitate to tell him everything. "How do you know about this?" Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately thought of the Mountain of Flames and the hidden mission. He felt that what Qing Bearded Z said made sense. Yes. Chapter 34:10. No. Senior Yin Hengshi clearly told me these things. Why can't I remember? At this moment, Night Sorrow suddenly remembered that Yin Hengshi had said these things. However, he could only vaguely remember the outline and could not remember some of the details. For a cultivator who was half a step to the Supreme Realm, forgetting some things was more difficult than remembering them. There was definitely something wrong. Yi Shang was astonished. He didn't know what had happened. What is he thinking about? Greenbeard, who had been completely desperate and ready to surrender, became absent-minded when he saw Night Sorrow. He immediately began to get restless. At this moment, Little Fool warned in a cold voice, "If you have the intention to continue fighting, what awaits you is death. I've already surrendered. What's the point of fighting?" Greenbeard, who was locked on by the Eternal Divine Tower, said awkwardly. At this moment, Night Sorrow began to use the power of merit to check his body. He knew that with his ability, he would not forget such an important thing. As the power of merit searched his body, Night Sorrow soon discovered something that made him shudder. There was a shadow in his body that was gnawing at his memories. After discovering that he was possessed by the shadow, Night Sorrow used the power of merit to attack and roared, "You are Extreme Destruction Supremacy?" Because this figure was the clone he had seen in the Mountain of Flames. Haha. I didn't expect you to discover me. After sending this message to Yi Shang, the black figure sneered. Since you've discovered me, you'd better be prepared to be killed. You spy of the Eternal Supreme Realm. After possessing Night Sorrow, this Supreme Supremacy clone already knew many things about Night Sorrow. I know. The problem lies with the scroll, or the Supreme Supremacy bone. Let's see who can destroy who. After this Supreme Supremacy clone appeared, Night Sorrow recalled that he had obtained the Supreme Supremacy bone, and the scroll that could cultivate to the Supreme Supremacy level. Using the power of merit to sense it, he discovered that it was the scroll's problem. Immediately, he took out the scroll from the space and threw it into the void. This is an item of the Supreme Exalted level. Night Demon, you actually chose to throw it away. What a waste. When Greenbeard saw Night Sorrow toss out a Supreme Exalted item, he was immediately astonished. At the same time, greed rose in his heart. If you like it, then take it. After throwing out the scroll, Night Sorrow suddenly felt his body lighten. Using his virtuous power, he found that the Supreme Venerable's clone had left with the scroll. He immediately used the power of merit to purify himself. While Night Sorrow was purifying his body, he suddenly shot the fire and ice alphabet gun at the scroll. Together with the virtuous trapping array, he was prepared to destroy the scroll. In other words, he had to destroy the Supreme Paragon's clone. The Supreme Paragon's clone in the scroll wasn't that powerful. Otherwise, it wouldn't have chosen to possess him instead of making a move. Night Sorrow still had a certain amount of confidence in dealing with him. Furthermore, he knew a few things about the Eternal Paragon world. If he wasn't destroyed, the cultivators in the Night Devil territory would be in grave danger. At this moment, a strange flame suddenly burned in Greenbeard's eyes. He used his short sword to use his ultimate skill to help the scroll break Night Sorrow's virtuous trapping array, and the fire and ice alphabet gun. The scroll that escaped from the array flew directly to Greenbeard's body, and was collected by him. Looking at the burning flames in Greenbeard's eyes, Night Sorrow immediately understood that he had been controlled by the Supreme Paragon's clone in the scroll. At the same time, a thought suddenly flashed through his mind. He said coldly, I know. You're not the clone of Extreme Exalt. You're the clone of Extreme Exalt. At this moment, he remembered what Yin Hengshi had said. Extreme Exalt killed, Extreme Exalt burned, and Extreme Exalt refined pills and weapons. The flames in Greenbeard's eyes and the mountain of flames allowed him to distinguish the other party's identity. Hehe. You have some brains. But today, you will die without a doubt. With this seat's help, Azurebeard will easily defeat you. After Extreme Exalt's clone controlled Greenbeard's body, he laughed confidently. Then he controlled Greenbeard, who was a half-step Supreme Realm 4th stage, to fight with Night Sorrow. This Extreme Exalt's clone had the battle experience of Supreme Paragon. Under his control, Greenbeard's combat strength soared. It was still not inferior to a half-step Supreme Realm 5th stage. After fighting for a few rounds, Night Sorrow was suppressed. Then, although he began to use the Eternal Divine Tower, he was still not a match for Extreme Exalt's clone and Greenbeard. At this moment, Little Fool, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, transmitted his voice. Looks like we're in big trouble. The opponent in front of us is even stronger than the 3 deputy deans. We're not a match. If it was a normal battle, we wouldn't have a chance at all. After all, Supreme Paragon has the ability to turn stone into gold. It allows Greenbeard's strength to increase qualitatively. But this Extreme Exalt's clone knows a lot about us. No matter what method we come up with today, we should kill him. Otherwise, the Night Devil territory will be snatched for nothing. Night Sorrow replied through voice transmission. In his opinion, since Extreme Exalt's clone did not attack him directly and possess Greenbeard, there must be a weakness. However, he could not recall it at the moment. In my opinion, this clone of his doesn't even have 1,000th of Extreme Exalt soul power. The most precious thing he has is some memories. Little Fool judged. He believed that the Extreme Exalt's clone in front of him was very weak, and relied on Greenbeard's body to unleash the strength in front of him. Actually, this was similar to what Night Sorrow had thought. After pondering for a moment, Night Sorrow said, Next, I'll try a soul attack. Let's see if it can cause damage. Then, under the situation of being suppressed, Night Sorrow suddenly used the soul-devouring dragon roar on Greenbeard's clone who was controlling Greenbeard. Buzz. After a loud trembling sound came from the void, Greenbeard's body suddenly trembled. However, his eyes only became clear for a moment before they burned with flames again. At this time, Extreme Exalt's clone who was controlling Greenbeard's body said, "You ants are too weak in front of Extreme Exalt. Don't try to counterattack, prepare to die. What I hate the most is everything in the eternal supreme world." Then, he controlled Greenbeard's body, and used a set of extremely exquisite sword moves. Not good. We can't block this sword move. Let's think of a way to escape. Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe, and found that the exquisiteness of this sword move had exceeded his understanding. He could not see through it at all, and the idea of escaping immediately arose in his heart. He immediately used the Divine Essence Trapping Array and the Merit Trapping Array, as well as the 100 Words technique. "In front of me, you ant, you still want to escape? Is that possible?" Senior Limitless Clone, who was controlling Qing Shuzi, easily destroyed the 2 trapping arrays and the word seal. Chapter 34:11. After breaking Night Sorrow's unique skill, Limitless Supremacy, who was controlling Greenbeard, immediately spat out white flames that were mixed with some purple. When the flames were spat out, they immediately covered the surrounding void. Night Sorrow was also wrapped in it. Little Fool immediately said, "I can't take this flame. Quickly keep the Eternal Divine Tower into the Space Grotto Heaven." Okay. As Night Sorrow kept the Eternal Divine Tower into the Space Grotto Heaven, he released his godly territory and power of merit. However, these defenses were quickly burned to ashes by the flames released by Limitless Supremacy. They didn't have any defensive effect at all. After breaking through the defenses, the flames immediately started burning Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow immediately felt pain coming from his body after being burned by such high-grade flames. Then, the flames started burning his godly soul. Being burned like this, Night Sorrow quickly couldn't take it anymore, and immediately released the power of ice. He used it to fight against the flames. However, even after using Frost Saint King's power of frost, he still couldn't break through the flames. Little Fool, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, said, "Limitless Supremacy is an expert in controlling fire. If his flames keep burning, you won't be able to withstand it. The only chance I have now is to destroy Qing Suzi's body. My guess is about the same as yours. However, we are being burned by the flames and Greenbeard has the strength of half a step to the Supreme Realm. It's almost impossible to kill him in an instant." Night Sorrow said helplessly. Greenbeard's body was controlled by Limitless Supremacy's doppelganger, and immediately displayed extraordinary strength. It made him feel like he couldn't resist it. "Shall I try using the Lightning Calamity?" Little Fool continued. Under the current circumstances, he could only make such an attempt. "This method is useless." The waiter had just finished speaking when Yishang refuted. "What else can we do? If this goes on, won't we die for sure?" Little Fool said in despair after hearing Night Sorrow's words. At this moment, Limitless Supremacy, who was controlling Greenbeard's body, laughed arrogantly. Night Sorrow pondered for a moment and transmitted his voice amidst the ear-piercing laughter. "The situation now is extremely difficult, but it's not certain that we will die." "Oh, is there a way to fight back?" Little Fool asked, puzzled. Limitless Supremacy's doppelganger was definitely in existence that they couldn't touch. He couldn't think of any way to break through it. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice. "We can't fight him with our strength, but it doesn't mean that everyone can't. Let's go find Senior Yan." After saying that, Night Sorrow's body was covered in flames. Sorrow's body. At this moment, if he didn't do this, he definitely wouldn't be able to survive. Thus he made this attempt. "You want to escape? Where can you escape to in this boundless sea of stars?" Seeing that Night Sorrow wanted to escape, Limitless Sovereign chased after him with a sneer, and increased the intensity of his flames. Night Sorrow flew with great difficulty under the burning flames of a half-step to the Supreme Realm. Greenbeard's smile became more and more evil. After Night Sorrow flew for a while, Limitless Supremacy, who was controlling Greenbeard, said softly, It's a pity to kill you. But if I don't kill you, it might spoil things. Should I keep you alive to devour or kill you? He had the ability to end Night Sorrow's life in one blow. But he hesitated. Because there weren't many people with the aptitude of a supreme realm. There weren't many people in the world who could truly advance to the supreme realm. Night Sorrow was one of the few who had the confidence to do so. To limitless supremacy, this kind of existence could raise his cultivation by a small realm in the supreme realm. It was very rare. So he didn't want to kill him now. You don't have the ability to kill him. Just as limitless supremacy's doppelganger was hesitating, a cold voice suddenly sounded and interrupted his thoughts. Limitless supremacy, who was controlling Greenbeard's doppelganger, looked over and was shocked. This was because a gigantic skull had appeared in the distant void. Although this skull was only a half step to the supreme realm, it was obviously stronger than Greenbeard's body. Even if he had the ability to turn stone into gold, he knew that he couldn't control Greenbeard to defeat the huge skull in front of him. After thinking for a moment, he immediately controlled Bluebeard's body and slashed at Ye Sorrow with an extremely exquisite sword strike. He wanted to pierce Night Sorrow's dantian. I'm here. How dare you be so arrogant? At this moment, the skull in the void roared and spat out a mouthful of teeth. One of them knocked away the sword that was thrusting out. As for the rest, they all shot towards Greenbeard's body. Which supreme realm are you? An ordinary half-step to the supreme realm can't unleash such an exquisite attack. Limitless Supremacy's doppelganger, who was controlling Greenbeard's body, immediately roared when he saw that all the teeth had turned into rays of light and shot towards Greenbeard's body. You're just a doppelganger that's about to die. What right do you have to ask about my identity? The moment the rays of light pierced through Greenbeard's body, the huge skull said disdainfully. At this moment, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little Fool. This is Senior Yen Hengshi. He's controlling the skeleton's body to fight. Senior has a complete soul body. He's not someone that Limitless Supremacy's doppelganger can fight against. We're safe. Phew. Fortunately, this happened in the endless sea of stars. Otherwise, we might have died, Little Fool said with some lingering fear. Maybe this is called luck, Night Sorrow said helplessly. Then he transmitted his voice to the huge skull. Senior, thank you for saving my life. Don't mention it. If I didn't want you to temper yourself in the flames for a while longer, I would have attacked long ago. Yen Hengshi transmitted his voice, and then controlled the skull to attack Qing Bearded Man's body again. Under his terrifying attack, Limitless Supremacy's doppelganger didn't resist much, and was completely killed. Greenbeard was reduced to dust and didn't leave anything behind. Yen Hengshi's strength was evident. What's going on with your body? After killing the other party, Yen Hengshi looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I've been hit by Nangongha's demonic flame death curse. Night Sorrow replied and then asked, Senior, have you heard of this curse? I've never heard of this demonic flame death curse. Maybe I've heard of it before and forgot about it after my rebirth. Yen Hengshi recalled for a moment, but couldn't find any memory of the demonic flame death curse. After thinking for a moment, he said, Let me try and see if I can dispel this demonic flame death curse with the power of Limitless Supremacy. Then he used the power of Limitless Supremacy to try and dispel the demonic flame death curse. Chapter 34:12. After Yen Hengshi made his move, the demonic flame death curse on Night Sorrow's body was suppressed to a certain extent. However, it was not completely removed. After the experiment, Yen Hengshi sighed and said, Sigh, if I had a complete supreme body, I could completely remove this curse. But right now, only my soul is complete. It's okay, Senior. The demonic flame death curse has been suppressed a little, and it has reduced my torture. Please don't mind it too much. After Yen Hengshi made his move, Night Sorrow did feel a little better. The pressure brought by the demonic flame death curse was reduced a lot. He immediately comforted him, and then took out a part of the supreme bones he had obtained and said, Senior, does this belong to you? It's true, how did you get it? Yen Hengshi, who was controlling the giant skull, observed it for a while and asked excitedly. It was given to me by Limitless Supremacy, when I climbed the mountain of flames. Look at this bone and see if he did anything to it. After confirming that the bone belonged to Yen Hengshi, Knight Sorrow said in a good mood. Now he knew that after the 3 supreme supremacies recovered, they would bring chaos to the world. While he was anxious to improve his strength, he also hoped that Yen Hengshi would recover quickly. How could limitless supremacy be so kind? He had added some hidden auras to the bones. This aura is very weak, but after he comes out of seclusion, he can find me at any time. Yen Hengshi used his soul power to scan the supreme supremacy bone in front of him and judged. Then Senior, can you remove this aura? Knight Sorrow looked at Yen Hengshi and asked. Yes, but it will take time. Yen Hengshi said and continued. After obtaining this bone, I can sense the rest of the supreme supremacy bones. Thank you, Knight Sorrow. I will find a way to get the rest of the bones. You don't have to worry about it. That's best. I hope Senior can recover soon and come out to take charge of the situation. Otherwise, we will be defeated quickly after the 3 supreme supremacies appear. Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and said. He knew that the 3 supreme supremacies must be extremely terrifying existences. Their appearance was likely to sweep the entire world, so he felt a sense of crisis. It's impossible to deal with them with just me and Yen. I still need you up-and-coming youngsters to grow up. It's just that the other geniuses all have their hearts in the fog right now. Even if we tell them what the 3 supremes are plotting, they might not necessarily believe us. This is very disadvantageous to the situation. Yen Hengshi voiced his judgment. Back then, the 3 supreme paragons had led the foggy region to victory over the eternal supreme world. Almost all the geniuses had been recruited into the Killer Heaven Academy and the fog. Now there were not many who could stand up against them. The situation was extremely difficult. Upon hearing that, Knight Sorrow said, Senior, you once said that there might be supreme venerables among the big clans that are being attacked by the Killer Heaven Academy. Are we able to target them? There should be 1 or 2 supreme venerables in these large families. However, due to the intimidation of the 3 supreme venerables, they did not dare to show their faces. Even if his family was destroyed, he wouldn't do anything. It shouldn't be easy to find. Leave these matters to me. You can just focus on dispelling the devil flame death curse in your body, and focus on increasing your strength. The 3 supreme paragons were about to come out of seclusion. The world is about to be plunged into misery and suffering. Yen Hengshi looked in a direction and said. At this moment, Knight Sorrow asked, Senior, in the Star Hall of the Endless Sea of Stars, you can exchange for a starship that is half a step to 3rd grade and above to enter the void. Are you familiar with this void? I've been there before. The creatures there are more powerful than the foggy region. If you go there, you should be able to increase your strength quickly. However, you can't advance to Supreme Venerables. There are no opportunities for Supreme Venerables there. This has been proven a long time ago. Yen Hengshi judged with certainty. In the void, the star beasts were very powerful, and there were some opportunities, but there were no Supreme Venerables. Therefore, it was impossible to advance to Supreme Venerables there. Okay, Senior. If there's nothing else, I'll go do my own thing. Knight Sorrow said to Yen Hengshi, and prepared to go to Night Demon Planet to obtain the opportunities. As for the contract related to Qingxian Planet, it had been destroyed along with Qing Suzi in the battle just now. It was almost impossible to obtain the opportunities, so he was not prepared to try. At this moment, Yen Hengshi said, Knight Sorrow, remember, the world we live in is now distorted. If you want to protect this world, you must defeat the 3 supreme venerables in the future. Therefore, you must increase your strength at all costs. Do you understand? Senior, I understand. But how do I advance to Supreme Venerables? Knight Sorrow asked doubtfully. His strength was increasing smoothly now, but he did not know how to advance to Supreme Venerables. When you reach the peak of half a step to Supreme Venerables, you will naturally have an epiphany. This is something that can't be done without Supreme Venerables. No one can help you with it. Because of this, some people will be forever blocked out of Supreme Venerables. Yen Hengshi said word by word. To be able to enter Supreme Venerables, one must rely on one's aptitude and opportunities. I understand, Senior. See you next time. After getting the answer he wanted, Night Sorrow said goodbye to Yen Hengshi and went directly to Night Demon Planet. After arriving at Night Demon Planet, Night Sorrow took out the astral contract. According to the experience he had learned from Greenbeard, he activated the fortuitous opportunity. When the opportunity of the Night Demon Star was activated, it didn't cause any trouble for Yishang. A round bead rose up from the hidden array formation. Night Sorrow used his divine spirit to check it and praised, "What pure energy!" Yes. This kind of energy should be able to be absorbed directly. If you absorb it directly, you can advance to half a step to Supreme Venerable's second stage. Little Fool, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, said, Although this kind of energy is different from the elixir that Greenbeard swallowed, the effect should be similar. Let me try. Night Sorrow replied to Little Fool and released his divine spirit to collect the pearl in front of him. Then he set up a hidden array and entered the Eternal Divine Tower to collect it. As the energy was absorbed, Night Sorrow's strength began to increase bit by bit. After spending about a year in the Eternal Divine Tower, Night Sorrow's body suddenly emitted a fluorescent light. This was the sign that he was about to advance. However, just as Night Sorrow was about to welcome the arrival of half a step to Supreme Venerable's second stage, the Devil Flame Death Curse on his body suddenly exploded and absorbed a lot of the energy needed to advance. It suppressed the momentum that was supposed to advance. This damn Devil Flame Death Curse. With the momentum of his advancement interrupted, Night Sorrow said angrily and continued, "Let's go to the Star Hall to exchange for things and then head to the void." www. Chapter 34:13. The first time this Devil Flame Death Curse erupted, it prevented Night Sorrow from advancing to the second stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. This made him very unhappy. He was prepared to exchange for a starship immediately and go to the Sea of Sun in the void to find a way to break this Devil Flame Death Curse. When he reached the Star Hall, Night Sorrow went directly to the exchange office on the 7th floor. This was the exchange point for the third stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. He spent 2 million to exchange for 2 identical third-stage starships. He felt that there were definitely many dangers in the void. If he only had 1 starship, he would not have the confidence to do anything. Then he used the remaining star coins to exchange for elixirs, which were needed in battle. He did not have any third-stage half-step Supreme Realm elixirs. After exchanging for resources, Night Sorrow left with the Eternal Divine Tower. After Night Sorrow left the Star Hall, the elder who had just exchanged for resources for him immediately sent a voice transmission to Nangong He. "Deputy Dean, the Night Demon really did what you said. He exchanged for starships and elixirs. Obviously he is going to the void. You did well. You don't have to tell anyone else about this." Soon, Nangong He replied. After that, she communicated with the elder for a while and summoned Jinghai and the other 2 cultivators. She said, "According to my judgment, the Night Demon is going to the Sea of Sunday. The 3 of you will use him to obtain the treasure in the Sea of Sunday. Then, he would directly eradicate them. Do you understand?" "Yes, Aunt. Auntie." Jinghai immediately responded. He hated Night Sorrow very much. "What about you?" After Jinghai replied, Nangong He looked at the other 2 cultivators, a male and a female. Both of them had a cultivation of the 4th grade half-step to the Supreme Realm, which was slightly higher than Jinghai's. Hearing Nangong He's words, the male cultivator, by Wuji, laughed sinisterly. "Wuji has something I don't understand. With just a few of us, can't we obtain the treasure you mentioned? Do we have to rely on the Night Demon?" The female cultivator, Murong Xiao, also said, "Yes. The 3 of us are geniuses with Supreme Realm aptitude. Can't we compare to a first-stage half-step Supreme Realm Night Demon?" The 2 of them seemed to have taken Nangongha's words to heart. "Haha. I know you are all prideful, but this Night Devil is very special. His body had extremely powerful ice and fire powers. Only those who possessed these 2 powers could possibly open the Sea of the Sun's treasures. This is also the reason why I didn't obtain that supreme treasure back then. So it's not that you guys aren't outstanding, it's just that your attributes aren't right." Nangong explained with a smile. She admired Bai Wuji and Murong Xiao very much. So that's the case. Wuji knows. Hearing Nangongha's explanation, Bai Wuji nodded. Like Morongxiu, he was one of the top geniuses in the Lu Tian Academy. He was proud and arrogant, unwilling to submit to anyone. Naturally, he did not think that he was inferior to Night Sorrow. Now that you know the reason, go back and prepare the starship and other items. 3 days later, come back and meet me here. Jinghai, stay here. After Nangongha finished speaking, she looked at Jinghai and asked him to stay. As for Bai Wuji and Morongxiu, they said goodbye and left Nangongha's place. After the two of them left, Jinghai, who had been looking at Nangongha respectfully, suddenly had a strange look on his face. At this moment, Nangongha smiled and said, "Don't worry. No one can see what happens here." Hearing this, Jinghai immediately relaxed. He walked to Nangongha's side and slowly removed her robe. He began to do the deed on the bed. When the two of them got into the rhythm, Nangongha moaned and said, "If you work harder, I'll give you another 10 war generals." "Yes, Aunt." Jinghai agreed and began to fight for the new 10 great battle generals. He knew that with the new 10 war generals, he would have the advantage in terms of strength against Night Sorrow, Bai Wuji, and Morongxiu. Night Sorrow, who was completely unaware of the relationship between Jinghai and Nangongha, returned to Nangongha's city. He then returned to the Night Demon Territory's friend gathering city. He met with his friends and told them about the following matters. Then he took the Eternal Divine Tower and drove the starship according to the coordinates on the map. Not long after, he entered the vast starry sky and began to travel in the Sea of Stars. Because he knew that the Sun Sea was not something that could be reached in a short period of time. While the starship was traveling, Night Sorrow began to cultivate the 100-word mantra again. However, this time he did not enter the Eternal Divine Tower. Instead, he sat on the deck of the starship and began to comprehend in the Sea of Stars. He traversed the boundless void. The atmosphere was completely different from the Eternal Divine Tower. Feeling the power of the boundless void, Night Sorrow gradually immersed himself in cultivation. In this state of meditation, he spent about 10 years and finally comprehended the last word of the 100-word mantra. Thus, he successfully mastered the 100-word mantra. After mastering the 100-word mantra, Night Sorrow discovered that the grade of the 100-word mantra should be at the 5th stage of the half-step supreme realm. It was also the peak of the half-step supreme realm. Moreover, after truly comprehending it, he did not use all the 100-word mantra. Instead, it could be combined into one word. For example, attack. For example, defend. It could be used to strengthen oneself or weaken the enemy. It was very useful. Night Sorrow looked at a meteor not far from him, and suddenly used the defend word mantra. Immediately, the meteor that was flying stopped in the void. The effect is not bad. It's much stronger than before. Moreover, it has surpassed the Divine Essence Trap Array and the Merit Trap Array. After a simple test, Night Sorrow was very satisfied with the power of this move. At this moment, Shower praised, "This 100-word mantra is really good. It's basically the peak of an auxiliary type of unique skill. It should be the peak of the half-step supreme realm." Night Sorrow added. Then he calmed down and began to study the divine powers that he had learned. He wanted to combine a few moves that were suitable for half-step supreme realm. However, he had just sat on the deck and had not completely entered the state. In the starry sky, he saw a huge galactic crocodile that was obviously larger than an ordinary planet. The aura of this galactic crocodile was much stronger than the one he had encountered in the endless ocean. After sensing for a while, Night Sorrow confirmed that it was at the 4th stage of the half-step supreme realm. This area should be its territory. Let's go around it. There's no need to fight. It's a waste of time. After discovering the galactic crocodile, Night Sorrow steered the starship and prepared to go around it in another direction. However, this galactic crocodile had its eyes on him. After the starship changed course, it suddenly chased after him. Chapter 34:14. I didn't want to look for you, but you came to me on your own accord? Do you think you're so great just because you're bigger than a star? Seeing that the giant crocodile had caught up, Night Sorrow stopped the starship and observed with the sea serpent's eye. He wanted to see through the giant crocodile's weakness. After observing, he was impressed by the giant crocodile. Although the giant starry sky crocodile was huge, its defense did not have any weaknesses. Obviously, it had trained its body well. After taking a closer look, Night Sorrow said to the Eternal Divine Tower, "This crocodile looks good. What do you think about taking it as a battle pet?" "Haha, that's a good idea. I think this crocodile would be great as a mount. It's a half step to the Supreme Realm, much better than your half step to the Supreme Realm starship." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Little Fool said with a smile. After several battles, they were confident that they could fight against a half step to the Supreme Realm. "I can use it to test the 100 words mantra that I just learned. You guys can watch from the sidelines." Seeing that the giant crocodile was flying over, Night Sorrow took out the golden heavenly halberd and the desolation halberd. He shot the ice-fire mother spear at the giant crocodile. 2 dazzling rays of light bloomed as soon as this move was made. By the time it reached the giant crocodile, the light had already covered it. Buzz! The light hit the giant crocodile's huge body, leaving 2 bloody marks that were hundreds of thousands of miles long. It didn't dodge? Originally, Night Sorrow had only launched a probing attack, and he had prepared a backup plan. However, he was surprised to find that the giant crocodile didn't dodge his attack at all. After the giant crocodile was hit, it let out an earth-shattering howl. Originally, it thought that Night Sorrow was just a half step to the Supreme Realm, and didn't take it seriously at all. Now that it was attacked, it suddenly realized how terrifying its opponent was. At the same time, it was completely enraged. It roared to the sky and spat a mouthful of demonic flames at Night Sorrow. "Do you only know how to attack instinctively?" Upon seeing the giant starry sky crocodile's basic attack, Night Sorrow executed his 9 defiant steps to dodge. Suddenly, he was astonished. This was because the giant starry sky crocodile before him was obviously much stronger than the one he had encountered in the endless starry sky. However, the method of attack looked too crude, as if it was the instinct of a beast. Starry Sky 10,000 crocodiles slash. Just as Night Sorrow was feeling surprised, the giant star alligator, who had closed the distance between them, suddenly performed an ultimate skill. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of small crocodiles similar in size to Night Sorrow appeared in the void. After these small crocodiles appeared, they swarmed towards Night Sorrow. So this giant starry sky crocodile knows an ultimate attack. It was just pretending just now. How cunning! When the tiny crocodiles in the void approached, Night Sorrow observed them with the sea serpent's eye and realized that they were all energy bodies. Because there were too many of them, it was almost impossible to dodge. Therefore, he released his own divine domain and used the defense character art on himself. He increased his defense by several times. With the support of the 100 words mantra, he felt that it was much easier for him to fight against the crocodiles. However, at this moment, the many small crocodiles that were attacking him suddenly gathered together in the void. It formed an extremely huge crocodile shadow, and then suddenly bombarded over. As the distance was very close, Night Sorrow definitely could not dodge this move. He instantly complained, "This crocodile is really evil." After that, he set up the Divine Essence Trapping Formation and Merit Trapping Formation around himself to block this attack. He also used the defense character art to weaken the giant star alligator's attack by a lot. However, even so, he was still blasted out after being hit by the giant star alligator's 10,000 crocodiles slash. Countless bloody scars appeared on his body from the bombardment. Foolish cultivator. After the successful attack, the giant star alligator, who was originally a little depressed, suddenly laughed. Then, it spat out a simple flame attack at Night Sorrow again. This attack was just a mockery of him. It did not have any power at all. It's too early for you to be happy. At this moment, Night Sorrow activated the Leakin bloodline in his body. He quickly healed his wounds. Then he activated the Treastrimsa Star Ruins secret battle technique and destruction divine ability. He also used the attack character art to enhance himself. He used the golden heavenly halberd to shoot the godly spear at the giant star alligator. He used the desolation halberd to shoot the star ruins spear with the star ruins attribute. This move was a fusion of the power of the star ruins and the various divine abilities that he had mastered. This was the first time he used it. After the star ruins spear was used, it immediately covered the light of the godly spear. It looked like this spear had absorbed all the light of the entire starry sky. It was very beautiful. This spear is not simple. The giant star alligator was not stupid at all. When it saw Night Sorrow shoot out such two spears, it immediately began to dodge in fear. However, after shrinking its body by almost 1,000 times and began to dodge, it realized that it could only dodge one of the moves. In an instant, the giant star alligator did not hesitate at all, and chose to dodge the star ruined spear. Then it shot out two huge fangs to block the godly spear. Looks like you're not that cunning. At this moment, Night Sorrow smiled slightly. Then he burned his Phoenix bloodline, Scale bloodline, and Leaken bloodline. He used the golden heavenly halberd to shoot out the strongest godly spear. After being stabbed, the giant star alligator's huge fangs were immediately shattered. After breaking through the fangs, Night Sorrow, who was holding the golden heavenly halberd, directly pierced through the giant star alligator's huge body. In fact, the star-ruined spear that the Desolation halberd had shot out just looked beautiful. It was obviously a fake move. The cunning giant star alligator had obviously been hit. Oh. After being pierced by the spear, the giant star alligator immediately let out a shocking howl. It was obviously severely injured. At this moment, Night Sorrow did not hesitate. He called back the Desolation halberd that had flown out and shot out a strengthened version of the Icefire Motherchild spear. He did not hold back at all in this move. And the giant star alligator that had just been severely injured faced the Icefire Motherchild spear. It burned its bloodline power directly, and then suddenly opened its mouth, wanting to swallow Night Sorrow, the golden heavenly halberd, and the Desolation halberd. This giant star alligator is not stupid at all. This move is definitely not simple. The giant star alligator did not dodge, and instead wanted to swallow him. This immediately alerted Night Sorrow. In the probing battle just now, he had already figured out the other party's temper. He knew that this giant star alligator was not stupid at all. Therefore, after he shot out the Icefire Motherchild spear, he used the Heaven Inverse Roaming Dragon art to dodge. Crack. Just as Night Sorrow dodged, the giant star alligator suddenly shut its mouth. It directly shattered the Icefire Motherchild spear that he shot out. Chapter 34:15. What a powerful ability! Night Sorrow, who had dodged the attack, knew that this should be the strongest attack of the giant starry sky crocodile. At the same time he exclaimed. He sent a voice transmission to Little Fool. I am going to launch the final attack. Get ready to collect it. He knew that after the giant starry sky crocodile used its trump card, it should not have any more powerful moves to use. It should not be difficult to deal with it. As for himself, he could use countless moves. This was something he had learned through countless battles. Don't worry. I have been preparing. Hearing this, the waiter immediately responded. It was much more convenient for the Eternal Divine Tower to collect such a huge creature than Night Sorrow himself. Get ready. Oh yes, don't use the Thunder Calamity that we collected. Night Sorrow replied and continued to fight with the giant starry sky crocodile. The reality was as he had expected. Although the giant starry sky crocodile had only used a few moves, it was already exhausted. When they fought again, it could no longer use any more powerful attacks. It kept repeating some of the attack patterns that it had just used. It had already figured out these few moves, so it did not suffer any damage. Then, Night Sorrow used a few moves, a new pinnacle technique that he had recently comprehended. He kept causing damage to the giant starry sky crocodile. After an hour of fighting, the giant starry sky crocodile was defeated. It began to flee nonstop in the void. However, its speed was not as fast as Night Sorrow, who had used the Heaven Inverse Dragon roaming skill. It could not widen the distance between them. After chasing the giant starry sky crocodile, Night Sorrow sent a voice transmission. Do it. Okay. Little Fool immediately controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to keep the giant starry sky crocodile. After the giant starry sky crocodile was kept in the Eternal Divine Tower, Night Sorrow sent a voice transmission. Submit or die. Make your choice. I choose to give you a large amount of resources in exchange for my freedom. What do you think? The giant starry sky crocodile replied after receiving the voice transmission. I don't need resources. After Night Sorrow rejected it directly, he continued. I will give you 10 breaths of time to consider. If you don't submit, you will die and turn into energy. After saying that, he started to wait. 10 breaths later, he asked, have you made up your mind? I choose to submit. However, can I use resources to exchange for some restrictions on the number of years? When the giant starry sky crocodile chose to submit, it started to bargain. What do you mean? Night Sorrow asked. I'll provide you with a lot of resources, and you'll shorten the time I have to serve you from eternity to 3,000 years. 3,000 years later, I will return to my clan to inherit the throne. The giant starry sky crocodile continued. Oh, does this mean that you are a very special existence among the giant crocodiles? Night Sorrow said to the celestial alligator in the eternal divine tower. Hearing this, the giant celestial crocodile immediately said, of course. If you don't have some ability, why would you appear in this void? Good. I'll agree to it. If I'm satisfied with your resources, I'll only let you serve me for 3,000 years. Night Sorrow's goal in the void was to go to the Sea of the Sun and remove the devil flame curse. It was estimated that 3,000 years had passed. After saying that, he made the giant starry sky crocodile swear a heavenly Tao oath. After that, he would bring him back to his lair and find the hidden resources. The resources that the giant starry sky crocodile mentioned were large amounts of star ruin stones. These star ruin stones contained a large amount of star ruins power. To Night Sorrow, it was really a pretty good help. He observed for a while and said, I promise you, I'll let you leave within 3,000 years. All right. Your Excellency, where is our next goal going? The giant starry sky crocodile that was released already shrunk its body by a lot. It already looked about the same as Night Sorrow's starship. After the giant starry sky crocodile finished asking, Night Sorrow took out the map and said, our goal is called the Sea of the Sun. It's about 100 years away from us. From today onwards, you'll be my mount and accompany me to the Sea of the Sun. Sea of the Sun? Your Excellency, you want to enter the Sea of the Sun? Hearing this, the giant starry sky crocodile was immediately surprised. Yes. What's wrong with the Sea of the Sun? Night Sorrow opened his mouth to ask while flying onto the giant starry sky crocodile. Your Excellency, in recent years, this Sea of the Sun has been erupting with energy that people can't withstand. There will be stars exploding at the slightest provocation. Those who go, 8 to 9 out of 10 will all perish inside. It's seriously too dangerous. No one dares to go anymore. The giant starry sky crocodile explained somewhat fearfully. In recent years, the Sea of the Sun had already completely become a forbidden zone. Very few people dared to step into it. I have a reason that I must go. This risk must be taken. Although Night Sorrow was clear about the dangers involved, he still opened his mouth to give the order. To him, if the fiend flame death curse could not be removed, it was no different from death. Therefore, the Sea of the Sun was a must. Why? With your talent, do you still need to go there and take the risk to compete for resources? The giant starry sky crocodile asked in puzzlement while flying. I'm not going to compete for resources. Instead, I'm going to find a way to remove the fiend flame death curse on me. This curse makes me unable to advance my cultivation realm. Thinking of the failure to advance to half-step extreme realm second stage, Night Sorrow said somewhat gloomily, cultivation to him, or every cultivator, was something as important as their life. So that's how it is. I've heard about this fiend flame death curse. It's indeed very difficult to remove. When the giant starry sky crocodile heard that, he thought for a moment and continued, but I happen to know the way to remove it. Oh. You know the way to remove the fiend flame death curse? When he heard that, Night Sorrow was instantly interested. I know. But if I tell you the methods, sir, can you reduce my submission time a little? The giant starry sky crocodile asked slyly. Night Sorrow said without hesitation, As long as you can help me remove this fiend flame death curse, I'll immediately cancel the submission contract with you. The purpose of his trip was to remove the fiend flame death curse. If the giant starry sky crocodile could really help him remove it, it would definitely be a huge favor. All right, it's a deal, the giant starry sky crocodile said excitedly before continuing. In reality, there was originally no way to remove this fiend flame death curse. But later on, someone found a way to remove it in the Sea of the Sun. That is to endure the burning of the sun flames. As long as one is burned by the sun flames for 3 days and 3 nights, the fiend flame death curse will be purified. He saw this method in the records of his clan. Although it was not confirmed, it should be true. But, very good. As long as I remove the fiend flame death curse, I'll let you go. Night Sorrow could feel the energy fluctuations in his body. He judged that if he removed the fiend flame death curse, he could immediately advance to half-step extreme realm 2nd stage. He was still looking forward to the trip to the Sea of the Sun. Chapter 34:16. In the following decades, under the lead of the local snake, giant star crocodile, Night Sorrow did not encounter many battles. He successfully arrived at the periphery of the Sea of Sun. Along the way, he had several signs of advancing to half-step Supreme Realm 2nd grade several times. In the end, they were all intercepted by the fiend flame death curse, making him very depressed. His desire to get rid of it became even stronger. After arriving at the periphery of the Sea of Sun, Night Sorrow opened the sea serpent's eye and began to observe. He discovered that there was no danger at the entrance of the Sea of Sunday. He immediately looked at Giant Star Crocodile and said, "Your current size is still a little conspicuous. Can you become like me? Supreme Grade Servant Manga." "I can, but I can't fight in human form." Giant Star Crocodile also looked at the entrance of the Sea of Sun and said. He was still very wary of this place with an extremely bad reputation. "Then become about my size and enter with me." Standing at the periphery of the Sea of Sun and observing for a while, Night Sorrow felt that the fiend flame death curse in his body was somewhat restless. It made him even more eager to enter. Hearing this, Giant Star Crocodile said, "Okay, sir. I'll go in with you." But on the surface he agreed very easily, but in fact his body was trembling slightly. Clearly he was afraid of something. "You're a half-step Supreme Realm 4th grade expert at any rate. Facing such an environment, what's there to be afraid of?" Sensing the fear of Giant Star Crocodile, Night Sorrow said somewhat speechlessly, "Sir, you don't know. I have a premonition that we will encounter a terrifying fellow that is very difficult to fight against inside." At this moment, Giant Star Crocodile looked in the direction of the Sea of Sun and said, "Oh, was your premonition accurate in the past?" Night Sorrow asked in a deep voice. He discovered that the Giant Star Crocodile in front of him was trembling more and more violently. A strange feeling immediately rose in his heart. "Actually, it's not entirely a premonition. In this Sea of Sun, there's something that makes my divine soul tremble. I don't know if it's a powerful cultivator or a terrifying environment." Giant Star Crocodile continued. He could sense some things that Night Sorrow could not. Upon hearing this, Night Sorrow said, "No matter how dangerous it is, I have to go in. If you're afraid, why don't you enter my space grotto heaven or divine artifact?" "Forget it, let's go in together." The giant starry sky crocodile thought for a moment before speaking. It was afraid that it would enter Night Sorrow's space now. They would be brought into the solar flame and burned to death. "In that case, follow me." Night Sorrow used his divine sense to scan the map, and then led the starry sky giant crocodile towards the entrance of the Sea of the Sun. When he was far away, he didn't feel anything. When they were within 1,000,000 miles, they immediately felt an intense flame aura. As they continued to enter, the surrounding temperature began to rise. In the end, it grew to a terrifying state. Night Sorrow and Celestial Alligator both released their protective divine domains, but they still felt very uncomfortable. This kind of heat was different from ordinary flames. It was a bit like roasting one's heart. It caused a clear sense of annoyance to rise in his heart. On the other hand, the demonic flame death curse on Night Sorrow's body became even more violent and restless. Roaming wildly in his body, It caused many parts of his body to rise with black gas. "Sir, what's wrong with you?" Seeing Night Sorrow's state, the giant crocodile immediately asked curiously. "The curse in my body has been restless ever since we arrived here. I feel like I can't suppress it anymore." Night Sorrow explained and said, "Where can I find the solar flame that you mentioned?" "This is called the Sea of the Sun. There are countless suns here. Just find any one of them. However, the closer you are, the higher the temperature. It's not easy to bear." The giant crocodile looked into the distance and only saw a patch of white light. It was so bright that its eyes hurt. "If the solar flame is ordinary, how can it remove the demonic flame death curse on me? Let's go," Night Sorrow said and used the sea serpent's eye to open a path. He chose a target and flew over with the giant crocodile. At the same time as they flew away from the entrance, 3 figures appeared in the Sea of the Sun at the same time. These 3 people were Jinghai, Bai Wuji and Murong Xiu, who had been sent by Nangongha. Looking in the direction that Night Sorrow was flying, Bai Wuji said with some disdain, "This night demon's strength is really pitifully weak." "That's right. He and that giant crocodile are no match for us at all. I wonder why Dean Nangongha sent the 3 of us together. It's like using a butcher's knife to kill a chicken." Murong Xiu also agreed. She obviously didn't put Yishang in her eyes. At this moment, Jinghai reminded them, "The 2 of you must not be careless. You will be at a disadvantage if you underestimate him." "Huh? Is it because you lost to him once that you're afraid of him now? Don't worry, with us here, you won't be at a disadvantage this time." Hearing Jinghai's words, Bai Wuji said with disdain. He and Murong Xiu were both half-step to the Supreme Realm 4th stage geniuses. Usually they could fight half-step to the Supreme Realm 5th stage. They did not take Night Sorrow, a half-step to the Supreme Realm 1st stage opponent, seriously at all. "Alright. Should we continue to follow or widen the distance?" Jinghai said noncommittally. Bai Wuji's arrogance made him feel a little uncomfortable. "Widen the distance for now. If necessary, we will close in on him," Dean Nangongha said. Bai Wuji said as he looked at Night Sorrow and the giant crocodile in the distance. Someone is following us." Just this glance made Yishang feel that something was amiss. Although he did not turn back or release his spiritual strength, he felt that someone was behind them. "Who is it? Who would follow us here?" The giant crocodile said speechlessly. If no one was following them, he could wait for Night Sorrow outside the solar flame. But now, he could only follow him in and tie his fate with him. "I'm not sure. Let's pretend that we don't see him and continue to do something." Night Sorrow paid more attention to the person behind them. However, he did not turn back to check as he did not want to alert the enemy. Then, he brought the giant crocodile to a scorching star. He asked, "Enter the center of this star and stay there for 3 days and 3 nights. Will my demonic flame death curse be removed?" "There's no need to enter the center of the star. Stay on the surface of the star for 3 days and 3 nights. The demonic flame death curse will be removed," the giant crocodile hurriedly explained. He was afraid that Night Sorrow would be burned to ashes if he entered the center of the star. The suns in the Sea of Sun were completely different from those in the outside world. The intensity of the flames was terrifying. Even a half-step to the Supreme Realm expert would find it difficult to bear. "Alright. I'll enter the solar flame, and think of a way to remove the demonic flame death curse. You have entered my eternal divine tower. If you stay outside, you will definitely be surrounded and attacked. The gains do not make up for the losses." Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to the giant crocodile, and kept it in the eternal divine tower. Together with them, they flew towards the scorching star in front of them. www. Chapter 34:17. Just as he approached the celestial body, Night Sorrow felt an unbearable heat to his soul. This heat was much fiercer than the mountain of flames. Even though Night Sorrow's body was very strong, it was still difficult for him to withstand it. He immediately activated the Green Phoenix armor and released his divine territory. He activated the Trayastrimsa Star Ruin's secret technique and destruction divine ability. Then he used the defense seal on himself. He raised his condition to the peak without burning his bloodline, and gradually stabilized in the solar flame. As Night Sorrow was being roasted by the solar flame, the demonic flame death curse in his body immediately erupted. It began to affect his condition. "I'm waiting for you." At this moment, Night Sorrow began to use his power of merit to block the demonic flame death curse. He did not use his power of merit earlier, because he was waiting for this moment. After the power of merit was completely released, it immediately purified the demonic flame death curse. At this moment, the demonic flame death curse disappeared again. The power of merit could not find the exact location of the demonic flame death curse, so it became alert in Night Sorrow's body. Phew! Fortunately, the demonic flame death curse is afraid of the power of merit. Otherwise, it would be difficult to deal with. The situation is temporarily stable. After Night Sorrow used his power of merit to drive the demonic flame death curse away, he immediately sent a voice transmission to the celestial crocodile. The celestial crocodile laughed. "Haha, then I'll congratulate you in advance for successfully removing the demonic flame death curse." He was really happy because Night Sorrow had promised to return his freedom after removing the demonic flame death curse. "I hope those people behind us won't come and cause trouble." Night Sorrow, who had calmed down, continued to send a voice transmission. "Sir, I don't think they will seek trouble by entering the solar flame to deal with us. The most likely thing is that they will wait outside." The celestial crocodile thought for a moment and analyzed. He knew that even a half-step fourth stage supreme realm would find it very difficult to enter the flames in front of them. It would be very dangerous to fight. Therefore, no one would come in and perish together with them. I hope so." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he became silent and persevered in the flames. 2 days passed like this. He could even feel the demonic flame death curse weakening. His mood instantly improved. As time went by, the time they spent in the sun flames was getting closer and closer to 3 days and 3 nights. When there were 6 hours left, the giant celestial crocodile was completely relaxed. Jinghai by Wuji and the other two wanted Night Sorrow to open some kind of treasure. Naturally, they would not attack him. He congratulated in advance. "Congratulations, sir, for successfully dispelling the devil flame death curse. I didn't expect your talent to be so outstanding that you could persist in the flames for so long. It's not over yet. Don't celebrate too early." Night Sorrow, who was still persevering, said calmly. At this moment, although it wasn't too difficult for him to persist, he had a bad premonition in his heart. Another 4 hours passed as his mood fluctuated. At this time, Night Sorrow could already feel that the demonic flame death curse was about to die. Only then did he relax a little and prepare himself for the arrival of the second stage of the half-step paramount realm. However, right at this moment he suddenly felt a strong sense of danger. He suddenly became alert and sent a voice transmission to the giant celestial crocodile. "If a battle breaks out, do you have the ability to attack in the sun flames?" "Sir, do you mean that those people are going to attack us?" The giant celestial crocodile immediately asked in confusion. "I'm not sure if it's them, but I can already feel that danger is coming." Night Sorrow replied immediately. At this moment, the giant celestial crocodile said, "If I go out, I should only be able to persist for 10 to 20 breaths and use a unique skill. All right. If I need you to attack, don't hesitate. Just use your last move to deal with me." Night Sorrow said and released his soul power to search for the source of danger in the sun flames. With this search, he immediately discovered that there was a huge fire demon on the planet he was on. This fire demon's cultivation was at the 4th stage of the half-step supreme realm. However, its aura was obviously stronger than the giant celestial crocodiles. Moreover, they were in the sun flames. It would definitely have an advantage in battle. "Since you've discovered me, then accept your fate of being devoured." Originally, the fire demon was prepared to attack Night Sorrow before the 3 days and nights arrived. Sensing Night Sorrow's soul power, it immediately spat out a large amount of flame essence at him. Once this essence appeared, the surrounding flames instantly became even more intense. "You want to devour me? I'm afraid you don't have the ability." Night Sorrow, who was in the flames, had basically adapted to the heat after 2 to 3 days of tempering. When the fire demon spat out the flame essence, He used the heaven inverse roaming dragon art to dodge. He dodged the scorching flames in front of him. Then he took out the golden heavenly halberd and desolation war halberd, and shot out the ice-fire motherchild spear at the fire demon. After the ice-fire motherchild spear was shot out, he used the divine essence trap array and the defense seal. Because the virtue power in his body was suppressing the devil flame death curse, he did not use the virtue trap array. If an ordinary ice attribute attack was used in the Sunflames, it would definitely be incinerated. However, Night Sorrow's Ice-Fire Motherchild Spear was not affected by the flames at all. It went straight for the core of the fire demon. The Night Devil's control of the power of ice and fire is indeed terrifying. Murong Xiao, who was watching the battle from afar, immediately praised when she saw Night Sorrow use such a powerful ice and fire attack. It was obvious that she agreed with Nan Gongha's words. As for Bai Wuji, he continued to say indifferently, he only has some ability in these two types of attacks. Look at him. When he fought the giant alligator and the fire demon, he always used the ice-fire motherchild spear. At this moment, Jinghai smiled and asked, Senior Brother Bai, do you have the confidence to break the ice-fire motherchild spear? Of course. If I meet him in a few days, all of you just have to help me. Watch how I blow him up. Bai Wuji said confidently as he watched the battle in front of him. Just as he finished speaking, Night Sorrow's attack suddenly bombarded the core of the fire demon. It was directly sent flying. Seeing that Night Sorrow had the advantage, Murong Xiao smiled and said, What do you think we should do if the Night Devil is no match for the fire demon? Should we rush into the sea of fire and rescue him? If the Night Devil is really no match for the fire demon, we really have to save him. After all, according to Dean Nangongha, only he can open the door to the treasure. This is really a little awkward. After all, we are mortal enemies. Jinghai said with a fake smile. I think that although the Night Devil is not as strong as me, it shouldn't be a problem for him to deal with the fire demon. You don't have to worry. Bai Wuji, who was watching the battle, said with certainty. Although he looked down on Night Sorrow's cultivation and combat strength, he judged that Night Sorrow could win. Chapter 34:18. In fact, Night Sorrow's current strength was about the same as the fiery demon that he was fighting. However, he still had the Eternal Divine Tower and the Giant Crocodile as his trump cards. Therefore, he was very confident during the battle. In almost every round of confrontation, he dared to use his life on the line. Under his sharp attacks, the fiery demon's attack and defense were quickly reduced by more than half. The fiery demon was naturally unwilling to be suppressed. Therefore, it ignited the core of the flame, and connected with the star to summon some of the earth core fire. The strength of this flame was much stronger than the fiery demon's own flame, and the flame that Night Sorrow controlled. After summoning it, the fiery demon immediately controlled the flame, and burned it towards Night Sorrow. It wanted to destroy him in one blow. Frost power. Facing the earth core fire's attack, Night Sorrow immediately used the frost power that he had obtained from the Ice Saint King. However, the moment the frost power was released, it was melted by the scorching flame. Seeing that the situation was not good, Night Sorrow immediately ignited his Phoenix bloodline, Scale bloodline and Leaken bloodline. He raised his aura to the strongest. Then he transmitted his voice to Little Fool. Get ready to attack. The fiery demon summoned the earth core fire. With my own strength, it shouldn't be easy to kill it. Okay. Do you want to use a normal attack or a lightning attack? Little Fool immediately asked. Things like sacred spirits are most afraid of lightning tribulations. Just use lightning tribulations. However, you only need to use half of it. After Night Sorrow transmitted his voice, he used the attack and defense techniques to strengthen himself. Then he attacked the earth core fire again. This time he used the divine essence trapping array, wanting to use it to stop the spread of the earth core fire. However, the earth core fire in front of him should be at the level of half step to supreme realm. The divine essence trap array was instantly destroyed. Haha. Stop struggling. You will definitely die today. Seeing that Night Sorrow was unable to do anything to the earth core fire, the fiery demon immediately laughed arrogantly. Then, it used an ultimate skill to push the earth core fire towards Night Sorrow. The scorching flames covered the sky and the earth, and the heat was very frightening. Even though Night Sorrow's body was very strong, Night Sorrow still had a hard time dealing with it. Under such circumstances, he recalled what he had said in his life and immediately thought of a move. Facing the flames in the sky, he unleashed the Azure Sea Tide. After the Azure Sea Tide was used, a 10,000 zhang high tide immediately appeared in the void and fiercely slammed towards the earth flame. Moreover, these waves were mixed with the power of ice. Although they weren't able to extinguish the earth core fire directly due to their grade, they were still able to defend against it. At this time, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little Fool. The time is almost here. Wait for the Flame Devil to charge up its next attack, then strike with the Lightning Tribulation. He won't be able to react in time. After sending a voice transmission to Little Fool, he said to the giant celestial crocodile, "In a while Little Fool will use the Lightning Tribulation to severely injure the Fire Devil. After that, I will let you out. You should know what to do." "Don't worry, my lord. I will seize the opportunity." When the giant celestial crocodile heard the voice transmission, it promised confidently. Actually, it was clear that the mission that Night Sorrow gave should be to beat the dog while it was down. The difficulty shouldn't be great. Very good. Night Sorrow responded and continued to resist the Fire Devil and the Earth Flame. Although the Azure Sea Tide restrained the Earth Flame in terms of attributes, it was helpless that its grade was not good. He needed to use it continuously. It consumed large amounts of divine essence energy. Seeing Night Sorrow continuously unleashing the Azure Sea Tide, the divine essence energy consumption was astonishing. The Fire Devil was immediately delighted. At this time, it, who did not feel any pressure, suddenly started to charge up its strongest ultimate skill. Shadow of the Fire Devil. After charging up for roughly 10 breaths, it finally unleashed this move. Little Fool Attack. The Fire Devil's attack was charged up for so long, Night Sorrow could naturally determine it. After the Fire Devil attacked, he immediately transmitted his voice to Little Fool. Alright. At the same time, Little Fool controlled the Eternal Divine Tower, and suddenly blasted out the lightning tribulation that Green Beard attracted at the Fire Devil's enormous body. Not good. What is this? Only after the lightning tribulation got close did the Fire Devil, who executed the ultimate skill, react. After discovering that it was the lightning tribulation, it immediately resisted in a fluster. But a half-step extreme realm lightning tribulation was absolutely not easy to deal with to it. Although there was no danger of being blasted to death, it was very hard to finish it off. Seeing the Fire Devil being held back by the lightning tribulation, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to the giant starry sky crocodile. Attack. Victory or defeat depends on you. Yes, Your Excellency. The giant starry sky crocodile could see the Fire Devil's situation in space. Towards same-rank opponents without any resistance ability, he was still very confident in dealing with them. After being summoned out by Night Sorrow, the giant starry sky crocodile's body immediately enlarged. After expanding to a certain extent, it swallowed the Fire Devil in one gulp. Being swallowed by the giant starry sky crocodile, the Fire Devil immediately released all kinds of flames in its body. For a moment, the giant starry sky crocodile roared very manically in the sea of fire. At this time Night Sorrow, who was resisting the giant starry sky crocodile's ultimate skill, transmitted his voice to Little Fool. Good opportunity, recall the giant starry sky crocodile. I understand. When Little Fool heard the voice transmission, he immediately made the giant starry sky crocodile give up resisting and recall him, and the Fire Devil. After that, he separated them again. After the Fire Devil was recalled into the Eternal Divine Tower, although it understood that its advantage was lost, it still spat out flames crazily to carry out attacks. It was just that, entering a world controlled by others, what effect could its attacks have? It was simply a futile struggle. After Little Fool finished explaining the situation to Night Sorrow transmitted his voice. Recall the Fire Devil well first. Later, wait for me to completely destroy the Fiend Flame Death Curse. Then we'll discuss how to deal with it. This Fire Devil was a sacred spirit born and bred in the Sea of Sunday. Furthermore, its strength was not bad and could even utilize the power of the earth core fire. Night Sorrow had the intention of subduing it. However, for now, he still sat quietly in the flames with peace of mind, waiting for the arrival of 3 days and 3 nights. Just as the remaining 30 breaths of the 3 days and 3 nights were about to arrive, the fiend flame death curse suddenly erupted completely in Night Sorrow's body, seemingly wanting to corrode all of his blood. However, Night Sorrow, who had long been prepared, naturally would not let it succeed. Controlling the power of virtue, he purified all of the fiend flame death curse that had appeared. After a few breaths of time, he felt that the fiend flame death curse in his body had completely quieted down. Night Sorrow smiled and said, "Finally, it's been resolved." Just as he finished speaking, the energy that had been suppressed in his body began to wreak havoc crazily. "Are you going to advance to rank 2? Seeing the changes in Night Sorrow's body, the giant starry sky crocodile immediately asked doubtfully. After Night Sorrow had dispelled the fiend flame death curse, he had immediately removed the title of Lord. Hearing this, Night Sorrow smiled and said, "Yes, I'm about to advance. However, we have to change places. It's too difficult to undergo the tribulation here." Chapter 34:19. After that, Night Sorrow brought the eternal divine tower and the giant crocodile out of the star and into the void above the ordinary area. They were waiting for Night Sorrow to come and pick them up. At this moment, Jinghai, Bai Wuji, and Morongxiu were certain that if Night Sorrow chose to leave after passing the lightning tribulation, they would attack and capture Night Sorrow and the giant crocodile. They would lead them to open the treasure. It's coming. The lightning tribulation is coming. Night Sorrow, who had sensed the 3 people behind him, distanced himself from them. In the void, he waited quietly for the arrival of the lightning tribulation. At this moment, his strength had increased tremendously as he had accumulated a lot of strength. He had just advanced to stage 2 of the half-step to Supreme Realm, and had yet to receive the lightning tribulation. However, he felt as if he had truly advanced to stage 2. His strength had increased qualitatively. Moreover, due to the tempering in the solar flame, his control over the fire element had increased significantly. Although it was not as strong as the earth core fire, it was not far off. Just as Jinghai and the other 2 were watching, Night Sorrow welcomed his lightning tribulation. Unlike ordinary tribulation transcendence, Night Sorrow's tribulation transcendence was directly beneath the tribulation clouds. While resisting the tribulation lightning, it was also tempering the strength of his body. His half-step to Supreme Realm lightning tribulation did not exist in the form of a lightning tribulation energy body. He was truly welcoming the baptism of the terrifying lightning tribulation. Amidst the terrifying lightning tribulation, Night Sorrow took the opportunity to activate the sea serpent's eye and looked in the direction of Jinghai and the others. When he saw that it was Jinghai and the other 2 cultivators, he immediately knew that they were coming for him. As he was undergoing the lightning tribulation, he secretly set up the 5 bulls formation in the void. As Jinghai and the other 2 did not have eye techniques and were too far away, they could not see Night Sorrow's formation clearly. At this moment, the giant crocodile asked in the void, "Are you going to fight the 3 people behind you?" According to him, his cooperation with Night Sorrow had ended, and he did not want to help. "Don't worry. This is my own matter, and I will not drag you into it." Night Sorrow knew what the giant crocodile meant, and continued to undergo the lightning tribulation. Finally, he successfully passed the lightning tribulation. After the lightning tribulation, he immediately received the heavenly energy. After absorbing the energy, Night Sorrow immediately felt comfortable. At this time, he used the clam dragon's eye to look in the direction of Jinghai and the others and said, "It's been hard enough to follow them all the way. Come out for some air. You're quite alert. But we're also." After being discovered, Bai Wuji was the first to step forward. After saying that, he turned to the other 2 and said, "I'll take him down in a moment. You two, take the crocodile." "You." Hearing this, Jinghai nodded indifferently. Said Night Sorrow, Up. Up S2. You. Up to himself too." The crushing defeat last time dealt a huge blow to his self-confidence. Now that he had met his enemy, he was naturally displeased. Haha. Actually, if you guys had attacked earlier, you might have had a chance to win. But now, you can only be tortured. Night Sorrow looked at Night Sorrow and the others and laughed disdainfully. Now that he had advanced to the second stage of the half-step Supreme Realm, his strength had increased by a lot. You're not strong, but you talk big. See how I'll torture you. Without waiting for Night Sorrow to speak again, Bai Wuji flew into the air and flew towards Night Sorrow. I'll defeat you in 10 breaths. Night Sorrow sneered when he saw Bai Wuji, who was a fourth-stage half-step Supreme Realm, flying towards him. Bai Wuji did not notice the five bulls formation. He was courting death by flying over. Bai Wuji laughed sinisterly. I'll say the same to you. I'll defeat you in 10 breaths. Murong Xiu reminded him. Senior brother Bai, be careful not to kill him. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Bai Wuji, who was completely enraged, said confidently. He took out a long hook and slashed at Night Sorrow. He wanted to use a melee attack to take down Night Sorrow instantly. Seeing Bai Wuji's performance, Little Fool was speechless. This Bai Wuji is really sending himself to death. Charging into the five bulls formation to fight. Even if the three of them come in at the same time, you can finish the battle quickly. That's right. Night Sorrow replied to Little Fool. Just as Bai Wuji entered the five bulls formation, he activated the formation. After the formation was activated, it immediately launched a terrifying soul attack on Bai Wuji. Bai Wuji, who wanted to use his long hook to attack Night Sorrow, was immediately frightened by such a powerful soul attack. He cursed in his heart. At the same time he roared. Despicable and shameless. You actually set up a formation, while transcending the tribulation. Do you think you can defeat me like this? Impossible. Then he took out a green bead from his space. After being taken out, the bead bloomed with a green light. Everywhere the light passed, everything became peaceful. It no longer had any attack power. What kind of secret treasure is this? Seeing Bai Wuji's artifact, Yishang asked doubtfully. Little Fool and Giant Alligator did not know, so they did not answer. At this time, Night Sorrow directly activated all his skills and ignited his bloodline. Before Bai Wuji had fully recovered, he shot out the Ice-Fire Mother-Child Spear at him, and together with the Divine Essence Trapping Array and Virtuous Trapping Array, as well as the Defense Seal, Bai Wuji was tightly bound to the ground. Wang, after Night Sorrow's strength had increased, the strength of his attacks had also become different. The Ice-Fire Mother-Child Spear that Bai Wuji had looked down on previously was extremely powerful. The power of the attack was so great that it pierced through Bai Wuji's chest. And that powerful ice and fire attribute caused half of his body to be frozen, while the other half burned. It looked very miserable. Then, Night Sorrow did not give Bai Wuji a chance to react. He pierced his dantian and directly crippled him. He did not give him a chance to turn the situation around. What? Senior brother Bai was actually killed by him so quickly? How did this night demon's strength increase so much? Murong Xiu was dumbfounded when she saw how easily Night Sorrow had dealt with Bai Wuji. Although she did not like Bai Wuji's arrogance, the teeth were interdependent. Now Bai Wuji had been crippled so easily. She suddenly felt a faint pain in her dantian. Senior sister Murong, don't panic. Although his strength has increased, he still can't cause any trouble. Jing Hai said calmly. Then he summoned the 10 new warriors from the space. This time, the 10 battle generals were all at the third stage of the Supreme Realm. Seeing Jing Hai summon the 10 battle generals, Night Sorrow's Giant Alligator suddenly said, I want to leave. Is it convenient? Chapter 34:20. Although Jing Hai had summoned 10 generals, all of them were at half-step to Supreme Realm. Including him and Murong Xiu, there were a total of 12. This scared the giant crocodile to death, and it immediately wanted to escape. Hearing this, Yishang put Bai Wuji into the space, then let him out and said, You can go now. Thank you for helping me remove the demonic flame death curse. He did not go against their agreement. The giant celestial alligator was momentarily stunned to see Yishan release it so readily. It was slightly surprised. After thinking for a while, he took out a pearl and handed it to Night Sorrow. My lord, I admire your courage. This is the tear of the giant crocodile king. It can create illusions. If you can't defeat them, you can use it to trap them temporarily. Okay. Thank you. Night Sorrow took the giant crocodile king's tear and thanked it. Leave from behind me. When we start fighting, you can go around them and leave the Sea of Sun. Goodbye, my lord. The giant crocodile said respectfully and left Night Sorrow's side. It did not want to get into trouble. The situation suddenly changed. Night Sorrow was facing 12 half-step to Supreme Realm experts alone. Among these 12 people, 1 was at half-step to Supreme Realm, and 11 were at half-step to Supreme Realm. Every one of them had a higher cultivation than Night Sorrow. Ha ha ha. This crocodile knows what's good for him. Seeing that the giant crocodile had chosen to leave, Jinghai laughed arrogantly. He looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Are you going to surrender yourself, or are you waiting for us to make a move? What courage do you have for a loser?" Facing 13 experts, Yishang's expression didn't change at all. There was no sense of panic in him. This made Jinghai a little angry. In his opinion, not only did he have to defeat Night Sorrow, but he also had to defeat him. He had to destroy his confidence to vent his anger. Glaring at Yishang, Jinghai exhaled and ordered, "Go capture him alive." Yes. When Jinghai gave the order, the 10 generals under his command immediately moved and surrounded Night Sorrow. At that moment, Jinghai looked at Murong Xiao and said politely, "Senior Sister Murong, shall we join in as well?" "Good. This night demon is not easy to deal with. We really can't be careless." Originally, Murong Xiao also looked down on Night Sorrow, but after Bai Wuji was taken down, her view completely changed. Then she and Jinghai took out their divine artifacts and attacked Night Sorrow. Faced with so many opponents, Little Fool, who was controlling the Tower of Eternity, asked with uncertainty, "Night Sorrow, can we really defeat so many people?" "I'm not sure, but it should be close." Night Sorrow replied and raised his status to its peak. After leaving the 5 Bulls array, in the battle just now, the 5 Bulls array had nearly been destroyed by Bai Wuji's artifact, so there was no point in remaining inside. Facing the 10 generals who were almost side by side, they rushed over. Night Sorrow held the golden heavenly halberd and the desolation war halberd in his hands, and suddenly attacked them with the fiery demon subduing spear. Scorching flames filled the sky. These flames had just been strengthened, and their grade was basically at the 4th stage of the half-step Supreme Realm. After it was used, it immediately posed a threat to many of the 3rd stage half-step Supreme Realm warriors. At that moment, Murong Xiao suddenly sped up and flew to the front of the team, saying, "I'll stop these flames. Don't worry and attack." After saying that, he unleashed an ultimate technique into the void. Heavenly River Descent. A long river was drawn out from the void and rushed toward the flames that Night Sorrow had shot out. Under her attack, Night Sorrow's fiery demon subduing spear was instantly broken. This female cultivator is not simple. Her strength is stronger than the male cultivator we captured. As soon as Murong Xiao attacked, Night Sorrow determined that she was stronger than Bai Wuji, and immediately paid attention to her. At that moment, Jinghai led the 10 generals, and continued to close the distance between them and Night Sorrow. Their idea was to surround Night Sorrow to prevent him from escaping. Night Sorrow naturally had a response to this. Under their attack, he kept retreating. At the same time, he had been preparing to attack one of the opponents. After he sped up, the people on Jinghai's side gradually widened the distance between them, and were no longer so uniform. As for Murong Xiao, who had just used an ultimate skill, she was the furthest away. At that moment, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice. "Xiao Wu, interrogate the male cultivator we captured. Xiao Air, prepare to strike out the remaining lightning tribulations. In front of us are all 3rd stage half-step Supreme Realm cultivators. The 4th stage lightning tribulations should be very useful." "Okay. I've already prepared. And I've even prepared a 4th stage attack. This attack is absorbed from the fiery demon. It's a terrifying flame attack." After Xiao Wu answered and began to interrogate Bai Wuji, Xiao Air said excitedly. In a short period of time, the Eternal Divine Tower had already absorbed the first attack from the fiery demon. The speed was very fast. However, They had not completely tamed the fiery demon, and made it fight for Night Sorrow. Very good. A lightning tribulations and a flame attack is enough to completely disrupt their formation. Night Sorrow glanced at the people behind him who were chasing and attacking him at the same time. After making a judgment, he turned around again and roared out a soul-devouring dragon roar. He used a wide-range soul attack to attack Jinghai and the others behind him. You overestimate yourself. Seeing that Night Sorrow had stopped and was about to launch a soul attack, Jinghai immediately took out a green lotus robe and released it in the air. It blocked all of Night Sorrow's attacks. Jinghai then said, "Don't be afraid. I've already destroyed his soul attack." Jinghai, it seems like you've obtained a new treasure. Seeing that Jinghai had taken out a green lotus robe, Night Sorrow said and ordered, "Xiao Air attack." While Xiao Air released the lightning tribulations and flame attacks, he held the golden heavenly halberd and desolation battle halberd, and prepared the frost-fire mother-child spear. "Okay," Little Fool replied. Then he attacked Jinghai and the 10 generals with lightning tribulation attacks and fire tribulation attacks. The grades of these 2 attacks were both at half-step supreme stage level 4. Furthermore, they were both large-scale attacks. They were very difficult to dodge. In an instant, the 10 war generals under Jinghai's command all hid in a panic. Compared to the 10 war generals, Jinghai's situation was obviously better. After all, he had the green lotus robe to protect him. When the 10 war generals were forced to scatter, Night Sorrow immediately used the Frostfire Mother-Child spear that he had prepared. It was aimed at one of the war generals. This war general was currently dodging the flame and lightning tribulations and did not notice Night Sorrow at all. He was instantly killed by this move. After that, Night Sorrow immediately attacked another war general with the golden heavenly halberd and desolation battle halberd. Chapter 34:21. Night Devil, how dare you? Seeing that Night Sorrow was still able to instantly kill one of his warlords despite being besieged from all sides, Jinghai was shocked. He then attacked the other warlord. Jinghai was instantly enraged. With a roar, he took out a short sword that he had just obtained from Nangong, and slashed at Yi Shan with an ultimate technique. This short sword was at the 4th grade of the half-step paramount realm, and after he used it he was shocked. When it was unleashed, it streaked across the sky like a rainbow. Divine Origin Trapping Array. Night Sorrow, who was preparing to kill the other warlord, used the Divine Origin Trapping Array to counter Jinghai's ultimate technique. This move was only able to block Jinghai's ultimate technique for less than a second. However, this was enough for Night Sorrow. In that instant, he directly killed the warlord in front of him. After advancing to the 2nd stage of the half-step supreme realm, his full-powered attack was already an attack that an ordinary 3rd stage half-step supreme realm expert could not withstand. "I'll deal with him. You guys support me. Don't fight him head-on." Murong Xiao, who had already caught up, saw Night Sorrow easily kill 2 of the warlords. Furthermore, he had used the lightning tribulation and flames to kill 2 of them. She judged that apart from herself and Qing, who was wearing the green lotus robe, no one else could block Night Sorrow's attack. Therefore, before Night Sorrow could continue to attack, she flew in front of him and started fighting. With Murong Xiao and Qing's help, it was no longer easy for Night Sorrow to attack the remaining 6 warlords. However, after fighting with them, Night Sorrow found that it was much easier for him to face Qing. If it weren't for the green lotus robe that Nangongha had given him, he might have died in just a few moves. As Murong Xiao fought with Night Sorrow, she became more and more alarmed. As the battle progressed, she suddenly realized that after Night Sorrow fully activated his state, apart from her, everyone else's attacks were basically no threat to Night Sorrow. Either their attacks were not powerful enough to break through his defense, or their attacks were not fast enough to be easily dodged. Even Qing's attacks could only play a role in restraining Night Sorrow. He could not pose much of a threat to him. This made Murong Xiao feel a little disappointed. She realized that she had underestimated Night Sorrow. At this moment, his combat power was close to the 5th stage of the half-step supreme realm. After thinking for a moment, Murong Xiao sent a voice transmission to Qing. "Do you have any other secret treasures?" This night demon is truly difficult to deal with. His strength is even above yours and mine. If he goes all out, he is extremely difficult to deal with. We have to think of a way. I still have a boundless heaven-shaking bell with me. Wait for me to find an opportunity to use it to attack his soul. Then we will swarm him and take him down. Before the battle, he had never imagined that Yi Xiang's strength would rise so quickly. Yi Haiqing's left him far behind. While he was annoyed, he also had killing. However, the purpose of their trip was to obtain the treasure mentioned by Nangong He. Naturally, they could not kill him. Alright. I also have a secret treasure here. After 10 breaths, we'll use it together. Morong Xiu sent a telepathic message to Yi Xiang. Then she used another technique. Compared to the other war generals, her attack was still a threat to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, who was fighting with the others, had also realized this. During the battle, he also began to pay attention to Morong Xiu and Haiqing. Relatively speaking, he had the Leaken bloodline, so his divine core power recovered very quickly. He was not afraid of consumption. Although the remaining 6 war generals were all at the 3rd stage of the half-step supreme realm, their attacks were not much of a threat to him. He just needed to use all his strength to dodge and consume some divine core power. This kind of consumption could be automatically recovered by the Leaken bloodline. The ultimate threat was still Morong Xiu and Haiqing. Therefore, he wanted to find an opportunity to kill either Morong Xiu or Haiqing first. At this moment, Little Five, who was in the Eternal Divine Tower, suddenly sent a voice transmission. Night Sorrow. The fiery demon has surrendered. Oh, the fiery demon has surrendered? Very good. Ask him if he can lend me some earth core fire? Night Sorrow immediately asked when he heard the voice transmission. He knew that the earth core fire was a true 5th stage half-step supreme realm. It was a great threat to the many cultivators in front of him. After a breath, Little Five replied, Yes, but he can't use much of it here unless you lure everyone into the sun flame. I shouldn't be able to lure all of them in because the 6 war generals don't have the strength to enter. Night Sorrow judged. Then let him lend you some. Little Five said, and began to command the fiery demon to lend some of its flames to Night Sorrow. At the same time he asked, Do you need the fiery demon to appear and fight with you? Not at the moment. I alone am enough to deal with them. Night Sorrow replied confidently. During the battle, he had completely recognized his true strength. Facing Morong Xiu and Haiqing, he did not feel much pressure. They were stronger than he had estimated before he started fighting. Okay. We'll be ready at any time. Little Five said again, and did not say anything else. At this time, Night Sorrow had absorbed the earth core fire of the fiery demon into his body. Because the earth core fire was in a controlled state, it did not cause any harm to Night Sorrow. Even Night Sorrow, who had absorbed it, felt a sense of comfort. If there was a chance, he should find a way to absorb some of the earth core fire here. Not only could it increase the level of his flames, but it could also be one of his trump cards. Haiqing, get ready to attack. Just as Night Sorrow absorbed the earth core fire, Morong Xiu sent a voice transmission to Haiqing. Okay. Attack immediately. The rest of you cooperate with me and senior sister Morong. Haiqing replied and took out the boundless heaven-shaking bell to activate it. After the boundless heaven-shaking bell was activated, it immediately released huge ripples in the void. Night Sorrow, who was attacked by these ripples, suddenly felt his divine soul tremble. It was very uncomfortable. At this time, Morong Xiu took out 18 star stones. After activating them, she threw them at Night Sorrow. After these star stones were thrown out, they immediately bloomed into 18 streams of light in the void. Each of the 18 streams of light was an attack from a half-step to the Supreme Realm level 5. When Night Sorrow was attacked by the boundless heaven-shaking bell, it was indeed very threatening. In a situation where he could not avoid the 18 streams of light, Night Sorrow recovered his mind and directly released the earth core fire. Once the earth core fire was released, the 18 streams of light released by Morong Xiu were quickly burned to ashes. As for the impact of Haiqing's boundless heaven-shaking bell, Night Sorrow forcibly withstood it. It did not cause much damage to his divine soul. The boundless heaven-shaking bell only made him lose his mind for a moment. How is that possible? Could it be that his divine soul has reached the level 5 level? Seeing that the boundless heaven-shaking bell had no effect on Night Sorrow, Haiqing was immediately surprised. Morong Xiu's expression became even worse. Chapter 34-22. Although Morong Xiu already had a higher opinion of Yi Shang since the battle had begun, she had never imagined that he would be able to break her trump card so easily. An ominous premonition suddenly flashed through her heart. Furthermore, they were extremely fearful of the earth core fire that Yi Shang had summoned. She sent a telepathic message to Jing Hai. If you can't take out your trump card, I'm afraid we will lose today. I don't have anything to take out. Jing Hai replied unhappily. It's all Bai Wuji's fault. If he hadn't acted on his own, we would have taken him down easily. What's the use of saying this now? Morong Xiu said and immediately chose to turn around and flee. She did not hesitate at all. You. Seeing that Morong Xiu had chosen to escape, Jing Hai shouted and stopped. At this time, Night Sorrow, who was controlling the earth flame, had started to attack Jing Hai. Although Jing Hai had the green lotus robe to protect him, he could not ignore the earth flame's attack. While he was dodging, he ordered the remaining warlords to come and help him. However, with Morong Xiu's desertion, these people could no longer pose any threat to her. Soon, they were killed one by Night Sorrow. Jing Hai was the only one left. He knelt in the void and shouted, "Don't kill me. I can tell you a secret." You want to tell me the secret of the treasure? Night Sorrow asked with a cold smile. Little Five had already asked Bai Wuji about this matter. Bai Wuji was very arrogant, but after he was captured, he behaved like Jing Hai. Soon he revealed the purpose of this trip. Hearing this, Jing Hai's face changed again. He knew that it was useless for him to say this again. He immediately sent a telepathic message. I have a special relationship with Dean Nangonghe. If I remember correctly, you called her aunt. Are you her nephew? Night Sorrow asked with a frown. He had no intention of chasing after Morong Xiu. Upon hearing this, Jing Hai continued with an embarrassed expression. We are actually lovers. If you don't kill me, you'll definitely be able to exchange something good from her. In order to survive, he revealed the secret relationship between him and Nangonghe. What? Are you sure? Upon hearing this, Night Sorrow felt as if his worldview had been shattered. However, to him who had a grudge against Nangonghe, these words were of some value. He immediately put away the thought of killing Jing Hai. Of course I'm sure. We've already tasted the joy of intimacy. Otherwise, why would she provide me with the 10 great battle generals again and again? And a secret treasure like the azure lotus robe? Jing Hai said matter-of-factly. All right. Hand over the green lotus robe, and I can spare your life. Night Sorrow didn't have the habit of getting to the bottom of things, so he spoke with a murderous tone. Good. I'll pay. As long as you don't kill me, I'll do anything. Jing Hai must have thought about this a long time ago, as he handed over the azure lotus robe without hesitation. At this moment, he had even given up on the thought of escaping, because he knew how terrifying Night Sorrow's speed was. Let me ask you something. After that, Night Sorrow kept Jing Hai in the Eternal Divine Tower, separating him from Bai Wuji. Then he asked about the treasure. After asking this question, he realized that Jing Hai and Bai Wuji had said similar things, and he was sure that the two of them weren't lying. He immediately flew toward the location they had mentioned. Before long, he arrived at the entrance of the Sea of the Sun. This entrance looked like a sea of fire, and the temperature was even more terrifying than ordinary sun flames. After opening the sea serpent's eye to observe, Night Sorrow discovered that behind the sea of fire was an ice wall. He roughly understood what Nangonghe meant. She felt that only those who could control the power of ice and fire could enter. Nangonghe and Jing Hai are lovers, so she shouldn't be lying to him. However, she didn't go in at all, so she shouldn't know what kind of treasure is inside. What she said might not be true. After standing in front of the entrance and pondering for a while, Night Sorrow used the power of ice and the power of merit to envelop himself. He walked toward the sea of fire at the entrance. Just as he approached the sea of fire, he felt an incomparably terrifying heat wave. He felt as if he could melt at any time. and the protective layer of ice on his body was constantly fading in the flames. Even if he kept using the power of ice, it was the same. He could only increase his speed and continue to move forward. However, as he continued to go deeper, Night Sorrow gradually felt that the surrounding flames began to become more intense. Gradually, he felt as if his skin and flesh were being torn apart. Night Sorrow, you have to hold on. There are still a few breaths of time before we reach the ice defense. Seeing that Night Sorrow's condition was getting worse and worse, Little Fool immediately reminded him anxiously. I can still hold on. As Night Sorrow replied, he took out the Earth Core Fire. He let the Earth Core Fire bloom around his body. With the protection of the Earth Core Fire, the surrounding flames immediately retreated by a lot. However, the burning sensation was still there, and it was also very harmful to him. Under these circumstances, Night Sorrow had already been burned to the point where he didn't even have a human shape after persisting until he reached the area between ice and fire. He was forced to rest in the middle area and rely on his Leaken bloodline to recover. After about 2 hours, Night Sorrow had completely recovered. Seeing that Night Sorrow had recovered so quickly, Jing Hai and Bai Wuji felt a sense of despair. Summon the fiery demon. After recovering, Night Sorrow immediately asked Little Fool to summon the fiery demon. After it was summoned, Night Sorrow looked at the fiery demon and said, "This ice wall seems to be tens of thousands of feet thick. Try and see if you can break it." "Yes, master." The fiery demon that had already chosen to submit received the order, and immediately used the power of fire to attack the ice wall. Then, every time it spat out flames, it could only make the ice wall become 20 to 30,000 feet thick. When the attack was over, the ice wall would automatically recover. Seeing this scene, Night Sorrow frowned and said, "It seems like this ice wall needs to be broken in one blow. Try using the Earth Core Fire." "Yes, master." After Night Sorrow returned the Earth Core Fire to the fiery demon, the fiery demon immediately used the Earth Core Fire to attack the ice wall again. This time, under the fiery demon's attack, the ice wall was broken 70,000 feet. The fiery demon said helplessly, "I'm sorry, master. I can't break the ice wall." "It's okay. Attack again." When Night Sorrow heard this, he did not give up. Instead, he let the fiery demon attack again. Although the fiery demon did not understand the order, it still attacked the ice wall again. At this moment, Night Sorrow also attacked the ice wall with his flames. Together with the fiery demon, they attacked the ice wall at the same time. Chapter 34-23. After Night Sorrow and the fire demon attacked at the same time, the power of their attacks increased several times. It was completely different from when the fire demon attacked on its own. In an instant, the flames from the two of them melted the ice wall completely. It looked like they were destroying dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. "Let's hurry over before the ice wall recovers again." Unsure if the ice wall would recover in an instant, Night Sorrow immediately flew towards the passage when it melted. The fire demon, who had heard the order, followed closely behind Night Sorrow. Together, they successfully entered the mystic realm where the treasure was. The reality was just as Night Sorrow thought. After they entered, the ice wall outside quickly recovered. Looking back at the recovered ice wall, Night Sorrow calmed down and opened the sea serpent's eye to observe the mystic realm in front of him. There were a total of 9 suns in the mystic realm in front of him. These 9 suns were of different sizes, but they all emitted a scorching light. The roasting they brought at the same time made the ground burn faintly with flames. The roots of these flames were greenish-purple, and the location of the flames was blood-red. The color of the flames not only surprised Night Sorrow, but also the fire demon. Even the Balrog said doubtfully, "These flames before us do seem a little strange. It's as if there's blood flowing in the flames. Otherwise, the color wouldn't be like this. I can also sense some abnormalities." As Night Sorrow replied, he continued to observe the other sceneries in the mystic realm. In front of them was a suspended staircase that was 1,000 feet wide. The two ends of the staircase burned with strange flames. There were many blood-red trees and flowers growing in the flames. Their color was basically the same as the color of the flames. These plants were suspended in the void and grew by absorbing the aura of the flames. Night Sorrow discovered that these flowers, plants, and trees all contained killing intent, giving off an extremely dangerous feeling. And this suspended staircase stretched as far as the eye could see. Even with the sea serpent's eye, Night Sorrow could not see the end of it. At this moment, he sent a voice transmission to Jinghai and Baiwuji. Since Nangongha asked you to come and fight for the treasure, she must have told you something, right? What to do after entering the mystic realm. Tell me how to find the treasure. Vice Principal Nangong only told me how to enter the secret realm. She didn't tell me how to find the treasure. Baiwuji replied helplessly. At that time, Nangongha had only given him a general idea, and did not mention the specific details at all. Hearing Baiwuji say this, Night Sorrow knew that Nangong he must have told Clear Sea some details. Because she was so certain that there was an artifact here, she must have a certain understanding of it. As expected, after a while, Jinghai organized his thoughts and said, I heard from my aunt that the information about the treasures in this mystic realm was given to her by Wuji Zun. It looked like a flame core. If he could find it, not only would he be able to use it to raise his cultivation, he would also be able to obtain extremely powerful flame energy. It's just that back then, she and Andrew didn't succeed in obtaining it. Did she mention the exact location? Night Sorrow was very interested in the details that Jinghai mentioned, so he continued asking. According to her, we've been following the stairs in the air. Once he reached the end, he would see the supreme treasure. Back then, Wuji Zun encountered this supreme treasure, but he didn't take it away. Jinghai told him everything he knew. He was afraid that Night Sorrow would get angry and kill him. Seeing Jinghai like this, Night Sorrow knew that although Jinghai had the talent of the supreme realm, he did not have the mentality of a supreme realm. Even if he was not defeated by him, he would not be able to successfully advance in the future. After that, he did not continue to deal with him. He sent a voice transmission to Flame Demon and Little Fool. You guys stay on guard with me. I'm going to step onto the suspended stairs. If I'm not wrong, these blood-red plants and flames might attack us. These shouldn't be much of a threat. I wonder what will happen if we continue to walk in. Flame Demon glanced at the plants in front of him and said disdainfully, after all, it was a holy spirit born from the sun flame, and it was at the 4th grade of the half-step supreme realm. As for the surrounding plants, they were basically creatures that had not reached the half-step supreme realm. At this time, Night Sorrow continued, Don't be careless. Let's go. Wait. Seeing that Night Sorrow was about to step onto the suspended stairs, Little Fool immediately said, Can you give me the secret treasure you got from Baiwuji? If I absorb it, I can attack with the power of a 5th grade half-step supreme realm. Okay, then you can take it. As for the green lotus robe I got from Jinghai, I still have some use for it, so I won't give it to you. Night Sorrow sent all the secret treasures he got from Baiwuji into the Eternal Divine Tower. He then used the green phoenix armor to devour the green lotus robe. Just like that, the green phoenix armor's level was raised to the peak of the 4th grade half-step supreme realm. It was only 1 step away from the 5th grade. Night Sorrow naturally felt a little regretful that he did not upgrade the green phoenix armor after consuming a pure 5th grade green lotus robe, but he did not care. Then he led Flame Demon and the Eternal Divine Tower up the suspended stairs. Just as they stepped onto the suspended stairs, the blood-red plants on both sides started to grow crazily. When the grass grew to about the same height as Night Sorrow, and the trees almost broke through the sky, they suddenly attacked Night Sorrow. The attacks of these plants all carried flames. However, the grade was not high enough. Night Sorrow controlled the golden heavenly halberd with his left hand, and the desolation war halberd with his right. 2 beams of light suddenly shot out and destroyed all of them. Then they continued to walk forward along the suspended stairs. Almost every time they walked 100,000 feet, the plants they encountered would increase by a grade. As Night Sorrow continued to move forward, soon he began to encounter the attacks of half-step supreme realm plants. Moreover, the plants on both sides of the suspended stairs began to become denser and denser, causing the attacks to become more concentrated. The attacks did not only contain flames. There were also some sharp leaves and hard fruits. These things looked very ordinary, but they were very difficult to deal with. Night Sorrow was slightly better. The flame demon in human form was completely flustered and no longer had the arrogance from before. At this moment, Little Fool asked, I've already prepared a half-step Supreme Realm 5th grade attack. Do you want to use it? Of course not. Your attack will be saved for the critical moment. While Night Sorrow was fighting against the plants in front of him, he had been walking along the suspended stairs. After rejecting Little Fool's suggestion, he activated the Treastrimsa Star Ruin's secret combat technique and destruction divine ability. He continuously attacked the plants on both sides. At this point, he had already begun to use his ultimate skills, and the road ahead still had no end in sight. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.